Sunday is a blind Sunday. Ain't got no prayers half right. Sunday is a blind day. Sunday. Sunday.
Good morning, gearheads, and welcome to the Blind Mike Project. Only 20 more Saturdays until college football starts. We hope that you're buying the dip. Make sure you go to blindmike.net for everything blind and everything Mike. And on today's show, Bill Burr doesn't want to talk about it. Is Shane Gillis a CIA comedy plant? Opie's in the basement of that bar again. Coach HP joins a cult. And were Darkside Phil and Aaron Imholt separated at birth? We may never know. But now, your host, the only man brave enough to be in Tom Myers' foxhole, Blind Mike Geary.
I like that. That is true. I'm the only guy with the guts to support Tom Myers. It's a Casey day, folks, so God knows what's on the screen. I'm sure the logo's changed and everything's different because Casey is here.
It's like our Terminator 2 theme. It's kind of what we're going for today.
Oh, good. All right.
Yes.
It seems like for whatever reason, when one of you isn't on the show is the week you decide to try and get a reaction to me. Because this week I have a Craig story. It's never when he was here.
Is it about when he did a goal and didn't tell you live on the air? Because that was fun.
Well, that was not. But he texted me the other day. Craig is in charge of this live event, this Quincy finale that we're going to have eventually. I swear it's going to happen. And Craig has taken the reins and he's really run with them. And he texted me the other day and he says, got a good place in mind. Thinking about scoping out the joint sometime on Monday. And then he sends me a second text that just says the word solo. As if to say, like, don't try harshing my buzz. Don't try riding my coattails here. He thinks he's like a Jason Statham character or something. Like, I'm going to go scope the place out, make sure the boss is safe, you know?
New puss does something to your brain, Mike. You know.
And then I'm a little worried about going to this place because the impression he did of the owner was gratuitous at best. It was.
Can you give us an example?
No, I'll just say they're not of our descent. So Craig finds that hilarious, apparently. So I don't know if we're going to be long for that venue, but we'll see.
What part of town is this venue in, Mike?
It's not. That's the other. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Craig is deciding to book this in a state I don't live in. So he's like, "You come to me."
Is it in your time zone?
Barely.
Okay.
No,
well, at least
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see. So Craig has the reins on that. There will be a Quincy live show at some point. There will be a Quincy finale, by the way. We will get back to Quincy on Patreon once the Baldwins is done. I think we only have 2 episodes of the Baldwins left. So after that, we will get back to business and finish up Quincy. And then who knows where we'll go on Patreon. Then we're Lost Boys. We have to go to the Bill Engvall show or something horrible like that.
Isn't Columbo sort of a natural place to go?
That's what everyone says, which is why I don't really want to do it. It would feel like we're just watching Quincy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think it's basically the same show.
Yeah, same producers, same writers. And so, yeah, you would definitely feel the same thing. I would say it probably better.
And Monk is similar. I think some people have suggested Monk, but I actually like Monk. Like
Let it happen organically.
It is ridiculous.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's got to happen organically. And I like to actually do something different than Quincy. Change it up. Because it feels like if we did Columbo, it'd be a lot of the same jokes, you know?
I'm going to suggest a half-an-hour ludicrous TV show from the 80s. I think that would be fun. So get out of the hour-long dramas.
Oh,
and get
I'm sorry. I thought you meant Chris Bridges had a TV show. I thought you meant Ludacris, the performer.
No, I haven't heard him called Chris Bridges since the 90s. That's hilarious.
All right. Well, yeah, there will be updates on that. Go to HackRideTheDemon.com. I hear Electra is live streaming these days on her own. She's
That's
leaving.
right. No, we can never. We're bonded together. But yes, she had her first live show on her channel, DJ Electra Fry, at YouTube. She's doing a one of them crime shows the ladies like to do, the murder porn shows.
Nice.
And so it makes more sense over there. But they talked about 3 brutal murders and liked it very much. I don't understand women in this true crime thing, but apparently it's very popular. Her numbers were amazing. So.
Oh, well, good. Go check that out. DJ Electra Fry on YouTube. And now it went so well that she's too good to be here. So we wish her luck.
No, she worked all yesterday. And then I made her watch a stupid movie last night on Rumble. It's my bad.
Are you guys doing anything after this program?
Yes, we are. Catch 22. If she's feeling up to it, we will be on right after the show.
All right. Check that out. Then go to blindmike.net. You can watch Carl on there with me right now. You can get early access to the Weird Al Yankovic episode that Carl joined us for. For some reason, Craig tried bullying Carl. It was very weird energy. You know?
That's kind of like second grader when you like the girl, I think. Because I think
yes, there's some of that.
It's like, invite me on WATP already. I think that's what it was, I think.
Yeah, it's gotten a little sad. And he used to really kiss Carl's ass. So you're probably right. This was him pulling his pigtails a little bit.
And by the way, Carl, have Kragers on. What are you doing? The guy's a fucking genius.
Yeah, you're really missing a lot. Well, the numbers will skyrocket, Carl.
He wore red glasses. Did you see that? It was amazing, Carl.
I saw a lot of that in the comments. I don't understand what Craig does with his wardrobe, but
he's really entered a cool man summer. Like he's got the sleeves off the shirt.
He's very
glasses,
cool. He's very cool. Don't try to put him on YouTube because you'll get shut right down. But
he did not go for that. He still hasn't talked to me about that. I guess he won't be appearing on YouTube anytime soon.
Well, he's too much of a bad boy. But yeah, blindmike.net is where you can watch Craig give Carl a swirly on why are you laughing? I don't know why he had that energy about him, but
well, let's be honest. We all want to put Carl in the locker every now and again.
we talked Weird Al. That was very fun. We're talking Baldwin's back there for YouTube and Patreon members. So consider becoming a member or just support the show for free wherever you get podcasts. All right, enough shenanigans here. Let's get into it. Oh, thank you, folks. Yes. Should we start talking about Shane Gillis, this menace to society?
Yes. What is going on with him?
Credit to the War Mode guys for exposing this animal, this CIA plant. Actually, real credit to Roan for having the War Mode guys on. I was very happy to see that. And we mentioned it on last week's show, but I didn't have time to find clips. So I just wanted to discuss this briefly. The War Mode guys breaking out of their shell a little bit. I would like to hear them promoting more because they're very funny. They're very into conspiracies. They don't take themselves too seriously, but they're a fun listen, and they're classic Philly guys. So they're trying to get the truth out there, and good on Roan for asking the tough questions. This is on Warm Ones. I don't know if this is new. I hadn't heard that Roan was doing this, but it's kind of a funny concept. It's a parody of Hot Ones where he gives his guests warm beers that they have to get through for each question, which is very funny.
I like that.
But yeah, this is let's hear Roan grilling these boys on Shane Gillis.
Swoosh.
It's not a plant, it's an asset.
Asset. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Take it from the top and spell it all out for me.
This might be Bud Light, but Bud Light, that dude used to work for the CIA.
But that's the thing.
Shane's dad went to school with a former director of the CIA at high school. That's kind of crazy.
He gets wigged out.
And I'm talking like small time high school. Trinity High School in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Big high school.
Not back then, dude. The world was small. I was just telling you, fuck all was in Westchester in the 90s,
My hands
dude.
are tied here. Fucking, the CEO of Bud Light went to my alma mater, Salesianum.
Right.
He might be fucking deep state. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's compromised. I'm just saying, like, the CIA is gonna sit there and go, that's just one tap on the shoulder. Dude, back in the day, they used to go to Notre Dame to fucking recruit people, and there was a protest of it called the Notre Dame 10 or something like that.
They protested against the recruitment?
Yeah, they didn't want to get recruited by the CIA. This was back in Vietnam days, but the CIA used to openly...
Well, what's Shane's favorite football team? I forgot.
It's Notre Dame.
Swoosh.
Of course.
It certainly is. And I got to tell you, now I feel brave enough to... These men have unburdened me. I never would have told this story before, but when I saw Shane backstage at Laugh Boston. I was patted down. I was questioned by men in suits. They ran a background check on me.
No.
And I always found it a little odd. And I never had the gumption to talk about it. And there are things I'm still sworn to that I signed my life away that I can't discuss that were happening back there. The Be a Man guy as well. He'll die with some of those secrets. So I think these guys are onto something. Keep kicking the title. Keep looking around on this Shane Gillis. But that's not all. There are more ties that Billy and Spud get into here.
This one's about Jill Biden.
Yes, this is where they really have something, I think, that's going to stick.
Swoosh.
Can we talk about Jill Biden for a minute, though?
Yeah, of course.
Dr. Jill.
Yeah, let's talk about the doc.
Well, she was babysitting at the time, but Joe Biden's wife got hit by a fucking truck
Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere.
I know.
Who owned the truck?
He's like related to Shane or something. I don't. He's talked about this before, but you know.
I want to know because I know you guys know
I
more
just
than
have
anyone.
zero connections. You know what I mean? I've
Obviously.
That's a crazy brag, though.
Swoosh. That's true. You can't tie me to Joe Biden or the death of his wife. You know, I think these are good, solid points the boys are bringing up here, and it's worth looking into.
Beers and blues music makes everything better, Mike. This is a good formula for a show.
Is that how Hot Ones is? I don't know. Is that why he has the music bed constantly?
I think so. It does set. It's a vibe. These guys are vibing out. It's a darker room. It's a chill. It's like a bar.
I will say it doesn't feel as much like they're exposing the dark truths that they really are. That Shane Gillis is a monster.
But CIA is our country, so he's working for us. So he's
I suppose, yeah.
comedy
Maybe it's for the greater good. But I don't know. I think we should always keep our eyes open when it comes to this maniac as he rises through the ranks.
Maybe they sent him against China. If you think about it,
It's certainly now. This is where we get into. Listen to them. The final conclusion here. I have always wondered about this. Shane's often talked about how he didn't even want SNL. So how did all of that happen? I think the boys have a solid theory here.
Swoosh. We didn't settle if Shane's a psyop.
He thinks he is.
I'm just saying he's an asset.
Yeah.
He's got to be an asset just because there's so many connections to him.
Just list them. Can you just bullet point the connections really fast?
Okay, Shane for some reason loves Notre Dame. Been going there since he was a little kid.
Every white
His
dude
dad
does.
and the Notre Dame, they recruit from Notre Dame. His dad used to bring him to Notre Dame. His
Many
dad's
such
friends
cases.
with a guy that ended up running the CIA. And his fucking dad, someone in his family killed Joe Biden's fucking wife.
Distant relative.
I mean, if you add that up for a regular dude that wasn't famous, you'd be like, that's fucking weird.
Right, you guys will get to the
Then
bottom
out of
that.
nowhere.
counter argument, just a great.
All right, and I'll leave
Overall, great guy.
I'll leave it at this. I was walking my dog. in
Shane
the park.
told him this, by the way.
I was walking in yeah, first of all, Shane was like, dude, you gotta get the word out. I was walking my dog, right? And he's like, dude, it's crazy. I just got SNL. This was before the bad part of that happened. And he's like, I didn't even have to do the regular fucking thing. I just went up and did stand-up. I mean, guys, what are we watching here?
So they
You're
ushered
watching
him in.
You're watching the scripted
They
film.
held his hand as he walked
Yeah.
across the line.
I don't know why, but
Escaped
hey,
all Diddy parties, though.
yeah.
There's no Diddy allegations.
He might be his job might just be restore cool white guys.
Yeah, restore order to the white race.
I mean, like, look, they brought him in to save Anheuser-Busch, for God's sake. Like, he is doing good work in a way, so at least it is for the greater good. But I think that's why this, first of all, shout out to Roan for having these guys on, because I think places that are very fearful would be, like, afraid to have War Mode on, because it's like, oh, they might say something crazy. I think Roan realizes it's all in good fun. And like
name's
you can
scary.
you can talk about this stuff without going, oh my God, these men are being platformed. Like I think Billy drives trucks for Pepsi or something. Like, these aren't men that you have to take seriously. You can have a good laugh and have a couple warm beers with them. So I credit Roan for that, and I also think it's representative of why people like Shane and why he has that everyman quality. That his boys are going on podcasts being like, I think this guy has ties to the government. I think it was all an orchestrated plan, his rise to fame.
I get a Come Town vibe off those guys. I don't know if it's just
there's definitely a come town. I think with that whole Philly crew, because Matt and Shane is definitely, there's an air of come town around what they do. There's a bit of a come town vibe with these two, but they have a lot of good theories. And here's the thing, they're often right. You know, say what you want about them. Say they sound like wackos, but there's many times where they'll what they're saying is proven out. So I'd keep looking into what the boys are saying about Big Shane.
Yeah, conspiracy theorists are having a moment. They're having a moment right now. We got some.
It will be tough. It'll be tough for guys like War Mode because like their type of shit is kind of becoming the norm. It's what like a lot of people believe.
Ooh, yeah.
So how do they stay ahead of that? You know,
counter culture. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Bands have been trying to do it forever. That second album always flops. So
Yeah.
good luck to you, Mike. We have some super chats and stuff.
Before we get into that, can I ask what the swoosh operation?
Okay.
I let it play out for one. What the hell am I hearing?
That I believe that was Krager's doing swoosh. So we there was a question or a comment. No, it was a voicemail on WATS where they were saying
Asking about the swooshes.
The swooshes were annoying, and I thought about it, and I'm like, we could vary that up a little bit. So
Yes, but you've really figured out a way to make it not annoying.
Yeah, it's just it's our friends. They're doing the swoosh noise. If you just hear it 150 times an episode, I get it. That could be annoying. But if you heard your friends do it, 20 times an episode, that might be fun. But
Sure.
also, I know you're now hating it, and it's for every episode.
No. I think if something's annoying, what better solve than Craig's voice?
Well, it's not only Craig. Keep your ears open. Put it in the chat if you recognize the
Oh,
voice.
which one of our friends will we hear next?
Yes, it's a game.
That is
All right.
exciting.
And now, okay, moving forward. Flatbush Tommy became a member. Congratulations,
Thank you, buddy.
Flatbush Tommy. Associate producer Ralph. That might be someone we know. $2.79 Canadian.
Yes.
T-minus 14 days. Still no thank you. Don't know.
It's not true. That's what's so not true. This son
sure
of a
you're
bitch.
right. Don't know
I've
what he's
thanked
talking
him privately, monetarily. What more can I do for this guy?
Maybe he needs a song thanking him.
Although, you know what? I think I paid Tukey, actually, now that I think about it.
Uh-oh.
Well, his channel's
Sowing
not
division.
monetized, is it? Go follow Cardiff Elect on YouTube, @Cardiff Elect. And that, my friend, is worth its weight in gold right there.
It
You
is.
just got the Geary stamp of approval. There's no money you can put on that.
It's good to have the potato back. We missed you, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's who that guy is. Anyway,
No, it's a
Eaterman Eaterman $5. Craig is the best protector. He's the only one I trust with the key to my daughter's chastity belt. God.
Oh, it's good. It's good to have a man like that go scope the place out because it might be too dangerous for me. I'm gonna ride solo on this one, big dog. You go do that.
Dang.lizard to euro or whatever that is, pounds. How about the A team? I think he's calling us the A team. That's false. Craig's the A team.
Hey, thanks.
John B to Lyra. I don't know what that is. Mike always had a gold chain and all that chest hair. Mike, they're noticing your chest hair and gold chain.
How? It's in my shirt.
You're very furry today. It's just popping out. I think is what they're saying.
But is the chain? Oh, I guess that you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
listen,
all right.
they ain't complaining.
Yeah.
Brandon from Connecticut, $10. Thank you for every time for the magic stream, Mike.
Oh, I meant to mention this at the beginning of the show. If I can address the Minifans real quick. Well, we have Brandon on the line here. I did the magic stream with Brando, and I thought he was what made it funny. I thought his reaction of like me passionately talking about the magic and him going, "Jeez, I didn't realize you cared this much." I thought that was the only thing that made it funny. And then I saw he was taking all sorts of shit. I didn't really understand why. So quit beating yourself up, Brando. I thought that you did a fine job. It was not that big a deal. I thought that's what made it funnier than if he was like really into the magic. That would just be, I don't know. I don't know if it would have done as well.
He continues, I apologize for my performance, but you're the man. I highly enjoyed. Who are these socials and why are you laughing this week? Have a great show.
Thank you, buddy. Now quit groveling. Get a hold of yourself. It's fine. No, don't worry about it. I thought you did a fine job.
Hako Burrow checks in for $4.99, says, Shane said on a recent Patreon that he told Spud he was a CIA asset around the Super Bowl, and Spud has been on one ever since.
I think he's trying to get it. Now Shane is trying to get ahead of it. Shane is saying, like, I planted that in his head. I was messing with him, you know? He's trying to get ahead of this story.
Yeah, that's a good troll. I like that, Shane. Associate producer Ralph comes back in with another $2.79 Canadian. Cardiff sniping you on new YouTube at Cardiff Elect.
I just promoted it. Why would he do that?
Thank you, Cardiff Song. Coming
All right,
soon.
go watch us on Cardiff Electric's channel, I guess.
Adam Davies with 2 pounds. I don't know what the hell that is. Congratulations, Mikey, on your victory over OJ. Oh, well, it wasn't victory.
Adam Davies of Entourage fame?
It's a black and white picture of an old man. I'm not sure
okay.
who that is. We got a gifted 5 subs from Adam Davies. He gave
you,
out
buddy.
5 subs, Mike. Yeah. Thank you so much, Adam. Jay Dabbler, $9.99. Saw Shane the other night. James McCann was his first opener, and he killed.
I love
Big
James
J-
McCann. Yeah.
Big J was his second, and of course he did as well. Unfortunately, Matt Rife was his third and stunk the room up. Shane was great.
Is that true? Matt Rife opened for Shane?
That's quite the order right there. This McCann, Big J, Matt Rife, and then Shane
Rife.
Gillis. That's a
Boy, that's a
comedy
tough
night.
follow for Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Especially a guy that does crowd work.
Wouldn't you put him at the end? Well, I'd put Matt Rife at the end to like.
Well,
Clean
they
up.
did. It's Shane's show. They're not going to let Matt Rife headline.
I don't get comedy. Flatbush Tommy for $5. Remembership. My card got declined. I did not meet the goal a couple weeks ago and forgot to re-up. Good to be back. Can't wait for the DSP talk.
Okay. Well, we'll give you this one on credit, and then you'll have to make it up when we get to Steel Toe. You have to make that up to us. Okay.
Absolutely. Are you ready for some Burr action?
I guess we'll get through this. I'm going to warn you. Trigger warning, guys, before you get too upset with me. My opinion on this is just so different than everyone's, apparently. And I don't think I'm crazy. Usually, I'm willing to be like, hey, I must be crazy, especially if I'm the only one saying something. But maybe I'm off on this. I'm still willing to listen. I have just not heard a good argument. So I would say, if you want to get through to me, if you think I'm lost on this Bill Burr thing and you want to get through to me, throw some facts at me. Throw some examples. Don't just go, oh, you're a liberal pussy now, which like is so far from reality that it makes me question all the shit Bill Burr is getting. I think there's something happening that the other side was doing 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. That people started doing this to the other side. And I think because the left has, Hollywood and they have the perception that they're on the good side or whatever, I think they became more powerful with it. But I think now the winning side is again making the same mistakes. When I watch these Bill Burr videos, do I think he's less funny than he used to be? Absolutely. I've thought that for a long time. I thought his best special was I'm Sorry You Feel That Way, which came out, I think, 12 years ago now. And I thought none of his stuff since then has been close to the standard that he set for himself. So that's the other thing, is people are like, oh, if you defend Burr, you're a Burr fanboy. Not really. I would have agreed with a lot of the stuff that he's gone downhill or whatever. But when I see these clips, and I have him sent to me like, can you believe your boy? As if I'm supposed to defend him. I don't get the change that they're talking about. We'll watch this. And when someone sent it to me, I was like, hey, there he is. Because I thought the perception was going to be like, oh, this is classic Burr. This to me is what Bill Burr has done for at least 15 years. Like, if you like Bill Burr, I'm stunned that you see this video and think like, oh, this guy has changed. So this is the video that people are talking about of him on the red carpet for Conan's Mark Twain thing. And some journalists are trying to ask him questions about the stuff he's been saying about Elon Musk.
Tell us about your reaction to Luigi Mangione. I was reading up, that perhaps you've been supportive of what he did. What is your take on that?
If you were reading up, I don't think you read up on it. Because I said what I felt about it, and I said what a lot of people said.
Some people took it that way. So could you clarify what you think?
No, I'm not going to just have...
That is classic Burr. I've been watching this guy do this for 15 plus years. I don't get the idea that this... First of all, he's right. That they haven't been reading up on Bill Burr supporting Luigi Mangione. He said it on fucking Kimmel and Charlemagne's show. They weren't reading on it, so they're lying. And he's calling them out for lying. He has had this type of resentment or whatever you want to call it towards the media forever. And they're like, oh, well, he's talking to... I assume these journalists are Republican, I guess, or working for a Republican outlet or something. I guess that's why they want him to comment on it. I didn't take it that way the first time I watched the video, by the way. But apparently these guys are trying to hold Bill's feet to the fire for his comments, and he's saying, "You're lying. You're a journalist, and you're trying to make a story." And for those that think this is like politically motivated, I said the exact same thing about Joe Rogan. The idea that they were trying to make things Rogan said on his podcast. And by the way, Rogan wasn't kidding when he said that shit. He meant it. He felt he was presenting facts and good information. And by the way, he was. Rogan was right. And people tried to call him out and make it a news story. And I thought that was so crazy. And the idea that journalists are trying to make headlines out of Bill Burr doesn't like Elon Musk, that shouldn't be news. It's stuff we should cover. You know what I mean? If Red Bar wants to cover it or whoever, that's perfectly fine. CNN and Fox News shouldn't be covering Bill Burr's feelings on Elon Musk. I think that's silly, and he's calling them out for that. And that's the type of reaction, by the way, that reaction is something he got praised for the last 15 years. So when I watch this video, I'm like, how are people saying this man changed? I don't get it. But keep playing.
Have some controversial moments so you can get clicks. I'm not doing that. I'm here for Conan. I'm not doing all of this. What are you going to bring up next? The Middle East? I went to summer school 3 out of 4 years in high school. I'm not qualified to talk about this.
I was just going to bring it right down.
What do you think about
He's
global
done that. By the way,
warming?
he's done that bit, and that's where if you want to say like he's almost hack now, he has done that bit the entirety that I've known who Bill Burr was. I don't read. I didn't go to school. I'm not an expert on this. He's said it on stage. He said it on his podcast over and over again. The idea that that's his answer to the media trying to grill him on something, this was not shocking to me. And I saw Kumia be like, "Can you believe this reaction out of Bill Burr?" It's like Kumia's known him for and has had interactions with Burr that are like this. I don't see a change in the man. I think the problem that Bill Burr is dealing with right now is like people thought Bill Burr represented something politically, and he didn't. He wasn't on their side as much as they thought he was. So now when he brings up an issue that they don't like, they're like, well, fuck this guy. And it's like, I don't have a little faith in him. If you liked him before the other way, don't just assume because you don't agree with him, he's automatically wrong. And by the way, I disagree with him on a lot of this stuff. That's the other thing. It's like, I think you can disagree with someone and be like, I think Bill Burr's way off about Elon Musk. But the argument for some reason has become that he's changed. And watch this video. He's the exact same guy he's always. You're telling me this is different Burr? Let's keep playing it.
You said about Elon that he was ruining Earth, I saw on The View. You're critical of him. What do you think of all the boycotts, like even the violence
I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I have no idea what's going on. I watch Instagram. I watch people wipe out on motorcycles. I watch lions and hyenas fight each other. This is the things that I do. And I don't think you should be asking a comedian. You're a journalist.
Comedians are on top of current events.
No. That's weak. That's you guys passing the buck. You guys need to have balls again, which you don't. You guys always goes, should we be thinking this? Duh. You guys present stuff like that. You guys used to have balls. You need to get your balls back. And it's not my job. I am a dancing clown.
What is he saying there that's wrong? And then the argument is like, well, he'll go and do it on The View. Say what you want about The View. It's not the news. I think you're giving The View way too much credit if you call it news. Whoopi, it was like last year that Whoopi's like, well, the Holocaust wasn't really about race or whatever the fuck she said. These ladies are nuts. They're wackos. Don't consider them news. You're going on with other fucking maniacs. So I think Burr's point was like, now you're making the story and trying to have another article where it's like Bill Burr doubles down on Elon Musk. You're journalists. That shouldn't be newsworthy. It should be for The View to talk about, or Charlemagne or these other shows that Bill was going on. That is where you should talk about them, not to the media. It doesn't make any sense to me. And Bill Burr having that opinion is expected. So the other thing I know I saw, and the way they frame it too is like they're lying to you. I saw a clip where Ben Shapiro is like, Bill Burr thinks that all conservatives are racist pieces of shit. And it's like, well, that's not what Bill Burr said at all. Bill Burr talked about the Snow White thing. And the first thing he says is like, liberals are nuts with this shit. So right out of the gate, he's like, I don't agree with those people on everything. But also, if you're an adult man who's mad about Snow White, that's kind of funny. Which I would agree. Do I think it's silly to try and change the race of Snow White? It doesn't make any. It's stupid. Create a new princess if you want to do that. Who gives a fuck? But people spoke. The movie fucking bombed. That's all you need. That was the proof. You won. You don't need then Bill Burr to be angry about it. I do not understand this idea that he's changed. If you want to say he's less funny and his stand-up isn't as good or his podcast isn't as good as it used to be, I probably agree with you. But people are sending me these videos like, now do you believe he's changed? No, because I'm watching it and I've seen his old stuff. He's always been that guy. I don't know if it's a matter of him now being older, that it seems more like it was a funny young curmudgeon when he was, 40. But now he's in his mid-50s, so it actually feels like an angry old man. There could be some of that. But the idea that he's changed, I think he's almost to his detriment the exact same guy he used to be. Like, where it's become formulaic. You kind of know his act. And there's elements of Burr, and this is the part that people that are angry with this segment will never hear. There's stuff with Burr that I hate. And I've alluded to it before, but like, look at where Ari Shaffir's podcast used to be. And then look what network it was no longer on the day after Kobe Bryant died. Look at the support Bill gave for comedians at that time. So I don't like everything Bill does. I don't like that he's become more of a businessman than a comic in certain regards. So I understand criticisms that like comedians have had of him. But this idea that he's like politically supposed to be something different than he is, I find that so strange. And people are sending him, I assume the reason people are sending me videos of him is A, because I'm a fan of Burr's, but also because they're thinking like, this is Howard Stern, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Rogen. Like, he's the next version of that. I don't know. I'd be happy to talk about Burr and play videos of him being a complete hypocrite if I found them. But I don't get it. So send me videos of him years ago. And even like we played the Hitler thing and laughed and I was like, oh shit, I might kind of be off on that. But it was different. The context was totally different of him talking about Hitler years ago and him talking about it with Elon Musk. I think the context was different. So I don't find him to be substantially crazier than he was when people were holding him up as some savior. I think you guys misjudged what Bill Burr was politically. Because like I used to listen to him on Opie and Anthony getting arguments with Anthony about political stuff. I don't think he was ever this hard right guy that completely flipped. And also, if you need him to be that, I think you're consuming comedy wrong. If you need Bill Burr to be something politically, one way or the other. And the same way that like when Shane Gillis said that Trump would be the funniest president to watch have an attempt on his life. I don't think you should have to answer questions from the media after that. Well, why is that, Shane? And you could say, oh, Bill Burr's serious. That's always been his style. He's talked about things he is serious about and ranted about them and made them funny. And then again, the one argument I'll allow is that he's not as funny as he used to be. That's fine. I don't think a lot of guys in their mid-50s are, typically. Comedians, I mean.
Let me give you a counter argument I found in chat here from someone
Please.
named Craig VGS.
By the way, the only clips this man has ever, I don't think he knows I do a podcast. He just knows I'm a fan of Burr. So he sends me Bill Burr clips like, what do you think of this?
Here's Krager's argument.
What does he say?
He has. Go ahead.
He can come on if he wants, by the way.
I'll give you let me know if you want to come on, Krager. He has changed. The video is how he normally is. Him commenting on the talk shows is where he's changed. He used to make jokes about this stuff and call the host dumb for bringing it up.
Yeah, I don't know that that's true. Not if it was an issue. Yes. When people brought up subjects to Burr, he would always call them dumb for making him comment on them. But he would have issues that he was passionate about, and he would bring them up. I don't find that to be substantially different than he used to be. You're right. If fucking Whoopi Goldberg made him talk about Elon Musk, but for whatever reason, that issue's been stuck in his craw, and he's passionate about it. And I don't think anything he said is that fucking moonbat crazy. I agree or disagree with him. That's perfectly fine. I'm not seeing something where I'm like, how does he even think that? And by the way, I do this weekly, where we talk about Woke Dad or Richard Ojeda or these people that have lost their minds. And people are trying to lump Burr into that, and he's not. He isn't that. I'm not getting it. I almost said I'm not seeing it, but I knew you people would have a field day with it.
Good catch. But it's good to get the Krager's opinion always.
What is he? Does he have the gumption to come on, or is he just gonna sit back there like a coward?
I just see kids running around his legs while he's texting on the couch.
I'll tell you, Craig is the first to be like, they can't handle me. You know, I'll be thrown off YouTube if I say what I think. And then I'm like, hey, come on. And he stays in the chat. That's, by the way, that's your hero, folks.
He's currently texting and driving, so he can't come on.
Well, it's never stopped him before. But, I was listening to like Gino Bisconti, and I'm like, this is what people sound like to me when they just shoehorn political talk into everything. Like that's who I think a lot of people online seem to be becoming. I don't get. Is the chat furious with me? Any other points?
I wouldn't say they're furious. There's some differing of opinions.
Let me hear them. I'm curious. I am curious about this.
Okay.
That's the other thing too, is I try not to, because I think it comes off very, like if you want to read the chat or respond to people, it comes off as like, fuck you. I'm not angry at anyone that disagrees with me. I'm curious because I'm really not getting it. And I'd like someone to convince me because I feel like the only one saying this for some reason.
Yeah. LK says, I never thought he was hard right. He came off as more a common sense old school Democrat, but he's gotten soft and influenced by the celebrity and Hollywood.
But don't you think some of that is the same you see with a lot of these guys, whether it's Bill Maher or Joe Rogan or Portnoy or whatever, where it's like their opinions have kind of stayed the same and they've been co-opted by these parties that have gotten more extreme in either direction. I don't see Bill Burr doing anything extreme. Free Luigi is something he would have said 15 years ago. Craig even had to agree with that one. Where like, that's something he's been doing forever. And because the parties of one party has caught up with him on certain issues, they now claim him. I don't think Burr checks every box of he's just dropping F-bombs in his new special. I don't think that side would necessarily love everything Bill Burr does either.
Flatbush Tommy says his most famous arguments with Anthony were him on the liberal side.
Right. Right. That's what I mean is like, I think he's always been this.
And one more says his jokes were always just complaining, which is why it lost its value and humor. Go listen to old Opie and Anthony where he argues with Nick Arand. Yeah.
Right. And that'll where it's like, you're just sick of the complaining. You know what I mean? Like he represented something to you that he wasn't. That part is on you. If you're just tired of the complaining, if you feel like it's gotten tired, like I said, I watched at Skankfest someone do an imitation of Bill Burr's formula. And you realize like, oh yeah, there is a formula to it. You don't see it as much as Mitch Hedberg or Anthony Jeselnik or whatever. Like, it's not right in your face. Like, oh, this is this guy's style. But when you realize like, oh, he has a formula and it's just gotten old over time, which happens with a lot of comics.
Associate producer Ralph says, I hate to agree with Bland Mike. BB is the same guy. So he agrees with that?
I don't like you making OJ lift a finger to come up with that nickname. He had to change a whole letter in my name. It was very difficult.
Oh, did I say OJ? It was Cardiff. Producer Ralph. Craig from VGS says, Free Luigi is on brand for Burr.
So he can text and drive, but he can't come on the show.
He's a very talented man, Mike.
That's so much more dangerous.
And then the final one here is some guy I've never heard of. Kirk Minahan has ruined Bill Burr for all of us. So.
It was. That's the thing is like Minahan ruined Burr for me, where he started pointing out how much of an old man he sounds like. And I was like, fuck. So from that angle, I get what people are talking about. But when people have this, oh, he should represent the right and he's representing the left, I don't know where you're getting that. And I think people do the same thing with guys like Rogan on the other side, where it's like, you're holding him up as this representative. People do it with Shane, where they're like, yes, Shane is the voice of the right. I bet he does not agree with every topic that you want to agree with him on. And God forbid he ever voices that one day, then the Messiah is dead. Oh, what are we going to do? So that's the problem when you hold these guys up to aligning with an ideology and you're so passionate and they need to check every box. I think that's a mistake the left made for so long. And I don't want to see my guys. I'm with you, boys. I don't want to see you starting to make the same mistake where when someone doesn't agree with every fucking thing you say, then you cast them out. I think it was something the right was good about for a long time, where they're like, hey, we don't care if you don't agree with every single thing. You can be part of us. And the left was very ostracizing in that way, where it's like, you agree with A, B, C, D, E, but not F? Then get the fuck out of here, pal. We don't want you. You don't think that we should give kids hormone blockers? Then get the hell out of here. And that's the problem that they made. And I wonder if now that the other side is winning a little more, if they're going to start making the same mistakes, which I hope they don't, but we'll see.
Well, you know who isn't political, Mike?
Who's that?
The Opster. Cheers.
Oh, the Opster. The Opster is never... Well, actually, that's not true. The Opster does try and get political and has the softest takes in the world. I'll tell you this. Would you rather Bill Burr, folks, or would you rather the insight of Greg Opie Hughes, where he's like, I'll say it. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think both sides are bad. Wow. How did you have the courage to say that, Ope?
All right, first up here, we got Opie's Zoo Crew.
Yeah, so I know Opie's been sniping with Anthony, and we've checked in with that plenty. But what I've been more curious about is I said, okay, Opie, he says, hey, $150,000, that's peanuts, If I drop $150,000, I'd lose money stopping to grab it. That's what Opie thinks. He says, I'm in this for the big money, I need real money if I'm going to come back to broadcasting. So I said, well, let me go down to the basement of Gepard's and see what's doing. Because maybe there's a show down there that's worth $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year that people are missing out on. And it seems that's exactly what's happening. Boy, in a basement of New York City, who knows what you'll find? And sometimes it's gold, like the crew that Opie has assembled here.
Swoosh. Okay. And there it is. And there it is. We are live at Get Fox. We are live at Get Fox. Welcome to our little live stream. We are drinking.
That is, hold on. Sorry to pause it already.
No, it's okay.
That is what's the right word? It's so you pity him in a way. I don't know the exact. There's a word I'm thinking of, and it's not coming to me. But Opie is installing that. He's like, "Hey, we're here in our little live stream," so that you don't say, "Oh, well, let me judge this program." You're supposed to hear that and go, "Oh, it's just a dumb little show that he's doing. I'll have no opinion on it." When the fact of the matter is, Opie has been doing this for 5 years now. How long has he been doing this live? I get 4 years ish. He's been doing this live at Gepard's for some time, and it has never expanded. It's never evolved. We have Ron the waiter, which we weren't always as lucky to have him. But it is a thing where Opie's like, it's just a dumb little show I'm doing. It would be like me doing this show now consecutively for over 4 years. I think we start four and change ago, and me being like, I don't even really care about this. Oh, we just happen to start the same time every single week. We happen to have a schedule in place, and if one of my producers is gone, I have another to make sure everything runs smoothly. But it's not like I really care about any of it. It's just a dumb little show I'm doing,
Club tonight. A Pilsner Lager.
It's a larger beer. I wish we had a beer ball.
Oh, I would love a beer ball.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, let's go.
Those were the days, man. Drinking in the 80s.
Beer ball? I thought you just said that those were the gays.
Those were the gays.
Oh,
Those were
baby.
the gays.
Drinking out of balls.
Drinking out of a beer ball.
Chugging some balls.
Oh, I remember the days. Are you saying
Yeah.
8 balls?
No,
beer ball.
Beer ball.
These guys are crazy. Hold on to your hats, kids, because you're on the highway to the danger zone. And Greg Opie Hughes is your captain.
The dangerous dads ever. Most dangerous dads ever.
I thought you said those were the gays. Oh, do I have anywhere to go with that? No, unfortunately I don't. I just, days rhymes with gays. So God forbid I let fruit hang that low. That's not in my nature. I have to pick at it.
About beer balls. Balls. So when we do live at Get Fox, me and Matt like to start off all nice and easy, and then we invite Ron in. But he's sitting here and all of a sudden he lets out a fart, and he didn't even know he was farting.
First of all,
That was me? You say me?
He
That was
goes,
me?
that was me. That was me.
Wow,
I'm like, yeah, it was you. It was you.
they
It was
think
me.
I farted, but
You farted, right?
I heard
You
a noise.
farted.
I heard a noise, but I didn't think it was coming out of me.
It was coming out of you.
It came out of you.
Swoosh. These guys are calling Rick Vaughn out of the bullpen early. The wild thing is coming in for some destruction. He's got fart humor. You know, he doesn't care. He doesn't care what kind of guff you'll take, Greg. You're not going to cap Ron the waiter. These are the horniest guys you'll ever encounter.
Yeah, last Bardo has it right. This is bad. This is just, there's no other way to describe it. It's just, this is bad.
I'll tell you. I try not to do this often because I hate when people are like, oh man, I hated having to get through this. I couldn't even get to this show. It sucked so much. The shows I play, I enjoy how bad they are. You know, I have fun listening to the most of them. With Opie, I do have that. I'm not going to say I don't enjoy, you know, the fake edge that happens at Gebhard's. I do enjoy it. But it is a rare one where I'm like exhausted, where I didn't listen to the last 15 minutes or so. And I listen on double speed. So it's really, it goes by. But I skipped the last like 15 minutes because I was like, I just can't do it. I'm done. I'm tapping out. It did exhaust me a little, which is rare for my tolerance.
Explain this joke. What's next?
Okay, this is Opie wants to be seen as the funny one from Opie and Anthony, which my take on it has always been, even if you're not the funny one from Opie and Anthony, it's because Jim Norton and Anthony Cumia were there, like radio legends, very funny guys. You should be happy being the straight man or whatever. But Opie wants to be seen as funny. And he would tell jokes like this on the air and then go, what, nothing on that? And get very angry. And so now without the anchors of Anthony and Jim weighing him down, let's see if you can explain this joke to me, because it went over my head, but I'm stupid. I don't know nothing about nobody. So maybe you guys can help me out and explain what the Opster meant here.
Swoosh. Yeah, man. Trump is making it sound like these tariffs are a good thing. Making it sound, I don't know. I'm not in that line of work.
I'm looking forward to paying an extra $2,700 for my washer and dryer.
You don't pay for that now. You don't pay for.
I know, but if I was going to buy a washer and dryer, I would have to pay more. I was going to buy one. I'm like, I can't buy.
I feel bad for my fellow Americans who might want to buy one of those.
Huh?
Ron, you live with a gay guy. You'll never have to buy a washer and dryer.
Swoosh. What does that mean? You live with a gay guy. You'll never have to buy a washer and dryer.
Gays are notoriously known for doing laundry, Mike.
Right. But will these goo gobblers just pick up your clothes without your consent and bring them down to a laundromat? Is that a stereotype of gay people?
Maybe it's the bright colors. I don't know.
I know they're always floating about, dancing and prancing, ready to do laundry at the drop of a hat. But he lives with a gay guy. He's never gonna have to do laundry.
You know, in my 20s, I had to take my laundry to a laundromat, Mike, and I had to bring armed protection because it was just a meat market of men going after you. You try to get laundry done, it's tough.
I remember going to Provincetown as a boy, and which is sort of a gay capital we have out here in Massachusetts. And I would go down there, and they'd say, "You're not staying in those clothes, are you?" And I thought, "Oh no, I'm in sexual danger." But then I realized it was just so they could wash them.
Yes,
there's nothing sexual about these men. They're just excited to wash clothing.
See, we did something with that joke. There was something there, Opie.
Ron the waiter and Matt from Gebhard's are the two most boring, cheesiest men you could ever come across. But I do not blame them. I blame the man with 30 years in broadcasting who said, hey, I found an HVAC technician that made $1 million radio career. I can turn anybody into radio gold. And what he is realizing is these men are radio poison. It's two men like this should be sitting in a bar on a Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. with virtually nothing to say. That's what they should be doing with each other. They shouldn't have a microphone shoved in their face from a legend, a radio Hall of Famer in Opie Hughes.
But Mike, these guys can riff. That's the next one.
Oh, is it riff o'clock already? This is exciting. All right, I take it back. I think we're about to learn. I had said a lot of harsh things about Matt and Ron here. I think maybe Opie's crew has a little more spunk in them than I realized.
Swoosh. More importantly, Pat Duffy has a very important question. Question for the guy that owns a beer-centered bar, booked a vacation in Western North Carolina. Any idea of a good local beer there that doesn't?
This ought to be good. They are entering Matt's wheelhouse. Pat Duffy, former Opie and Anthony intern, who I guess still likes Opie. Good for him. He said, hey, Matt's the beer guy. Any local beers in North Carolina? Now, buckle up, because, Matt might be out of his element at times, but this is beer. This is what Matt has, the foundation of his life, the cornerstone of Matt's day-to-day. He's going to have something good for us here. North Carolina beer. What do you got, Matty?
Take that doesn't taste like pine trees and piss.
Ooh, pine trees and piss. Sounds like a good craft beer.
We had the North Carolina guy here a couple weeks ago. You don't know anything about North Carolina.
I know
beer.
jack squat about North Carolina. I didn't even realize there was one.
You didn't know there was a
I
North
thought
Carolina?
it was like West Carolina. Anyway.
Matt's trying to do a funny.
Swoosh. Good God.
They didn't even let him do the unfunny joke. And then for some reason, Opie's like, Opie's Ed McMahon on his own show. It really is. And that's not a joke, by the way. Go watch live at Gepard's. If you have an hour and change, you're looking to kill yourself. Matt and Ron do the majority of the talking. You could easily edit a Nopi show. If the person that made those beautiful videos, the Nopi videos, if you're out there, sir, you could easily do Nopi on his own show. It's like they talk over each other, so maybe he's a little hard to cut out at times because he's usually yelling over Ron the waiter to try and get him to stop talking. But like, you could easily cut Opie out of these episodes, and it's probably maybe 8 minutes shorter, if that. I'm guessing. I could be wrong, but I'd like to see the data on that if you're able to do some editing.
This next one's called Our Doors Are Open.
And the swooshes are not annoying me at all, by the way. I think they're very good.
Hi, Tukey. That's a Tukey.
It's a good attempt. I like it. Yeah. I respect it.
Cast Iron Kyle just gave it some a $5. Bring the show on the road. I was just talking to these guys about you, Cast Iron Kyle. Bring the show on the road. Trillium Brewery.
Trillium. Let's go to Trillium. All right, we'll do
April
it live from Trillium.
Boston Hot Sauce Party.
Let's do it.
Let's go up to Boston.
April 26th.
Come on, boys.
By the way, Boston Hot Sauce was my name in high school.
Oh, Ron, you didn't go there, did you? You cocksucker. Ron, you ball breaker.
I mean, Ron is the Norton of the group.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Matt is Anthony and Ron is Norton. Yeah. Jim the waiter. But guys, come to Boston. That could be the next Gearhead meetup. Opie, let me know. Love to have a few wobbly pops with you. The boys will be out in full force. We could do some recording. I could sit back and just watch, or I could be on the show with you. Whatever you're feeling, buddy. I would love to meet you at Trillium. Trillium has some good beers. We could talk about the old days or the new days, whatever you're feeling. So I say come on down to Boston, fellas.
That would be amazing.
Sounds like that's 2 weeks away. They wanted to go to the Boston Hot Sauce. Opie will never do it, by the way. There's nothing that gets Opie excited for broadcasting. He just does it because that's what he's done since he's 18. I don't know if you know that. He's been in the business since he was 18.
I've heard.
So he literally doesn't know anything else. He's like, I guess I just have to do this.
I'm sure Ron's wondering, Mike, do you have room on your couch? Can you get Ron needs a place to stay.
Ron, come on over, baby. I live with some queer that'll do your laundry for you. You know how they are.
Speaking of Ron's resume, we're going to get some insight here.
Oh, this is so Ron is interviewing for a security job. I think it's Citi Field or something. He kept referencing, he interviewed with some lady who used to be, I don't know, the police chief in New York City or something like that, but now she works for the Mets. So he's just interviewing for that security company or something. But he's doing this interview. I don't know how much you know about the security biz, Casey, but I imagine they want, maybe former cops or at least like bouncers. Have you ever worked bouncing at a bar or something like
biceps. They need biceps.
Yeah, some sort of skills that lend themselves to security. I know Rogan. If you want to go this extreme, Rogan has all like ex-military guys at the mothership. So there needs to be some background, and this is what Ron the waiter is yapping this lady's ear off about in his interview.
And then I go, and I also I'm a comic. I do stand-up comedy, and she goes, "Well, you can't tell jokes while working." And I'm like, "No, I get paid to do that."
Right.
And then
well, wait till you hear my hot sauce chunk. You'll be regretting those words.
Because I think it's it's cool, impressive. I'm like, well, I also do radio, and I say, "You ever heard of Open Answer?" She goes, "Yeah, I have." And I said, "Well, I do the open show." She goes, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Wow, it's you're very busy. You're doing a lot of stuff."
Iraq has fallen on hard times.
But he looks great. He lost some weight. Congratulations.
But that is not something you put on your resume. I sit at a bar while Opie hits record for 30 people on YouTube. That's not a resume filler. And why are you telling this lady who runs a security company? What would any of this do? So listen to the conclusion. By the way, this is what a child would do. A child would be like, "I thought it was wicked cool. I met Opie from Opie and Anthony, so I told her about that. I told her I do comedy and tell her all kinds of funny jokes. And then they didn't want me to work at their security company. I don't know why. I didn't understand it."
And I said, "Well, I can wear a lot of hats." And then she goes, "Well, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you." So the theory is.
The theory is. Are you going to blame the Opie and Anthony show?
So the two theories.
Here's the theory.
So the guy who works for the local 177 said, "I think you shouldn't have said that you do the Opie show from Opie and Anthony because I feel like they feel like that's a liability because you may be talking about stuff they don't."
It's also, unless you were Club Soda Kenny, pointless to bring up in a security interview. Unless you were one of the security guards for Opie and Anthony, it's a ridiculous thing to mention. Here's what I can do for your company. I'm a real good yapper. I could riff a little bit. I can talk about politics. I'm super into conspiracy theories. I've been telling Opie all about them every week down at Gepard's. So do I have the job or what?
Yeah, that's the kind of attitude you want guarding your $1 billion human property.
So let me hear the end of this where, like, Opie's like, "Oh, you're going to blame the Opie and Anthony show." I do think it's ridiculous that there are people out there that hear the name of a comedy show like Opie and Anthony and think, "Oh, God, I could never associate with that person." But Opie takes it to such a level. Opie takes it to such a level where, like, the tarnishing of the Opie and Anthony brand, if you want to call it that, was mostly done by Anthony getting fired, right? I would think. So this is the perfect chance for Opie to be like, "Yeah, I know, Anthony really damaged the reputation." Like, if he wanted to go down that road, this would be an opening for him to do that. Let's see how Opie handles the slightest mention of Opie and Anthony being a problem.
So blame it on me.
This is Opie's fault.
It's your fault. Opie, it's Opie's.
Everything's my fault.
Not even being there, it's your fault.
Everything is my fault.
Now,
don't you know this?
Instead of having a conversation where it's like, "That's so ridiculous that 11 years after the show has ended, you name drop Opie and Anthony and it cost you an interview." First of all, it didn't happen. Ron did not get this job because he brought up Opie and Anthony. It's because he clearly handled an interview unprofessionally based on his own description. But for Opie to go, "Everything is my fault," it just shows you what a perpetual victim he is. That he can't even take that opportunity to be like, "Yeah, look what Anthony did to our brand," you know? And again, I wouldn't agree with that, but there's the perfect time for him to slough that off. And instead he's like, "Oh, you're blaming me for this. Why? Why are you saying it's my fault? I hate that." All I did was laugh at women for years and stomp on cakes because I had no other material. I made retards get naked. So what? we did the Legend of Bobo on Why You Laughing a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And it is interesting to go back and listen. And Opie sounds like so much more of a human being back then. It's crazy the difference. But it's also funny that like Opie's radio instinct was they met Bobo, and within, I mean, I think the clip might be a minute at most. And in that time, you hear Opie go, well, would you get naked for us for tickets to whatever the fuck? And Bobo's like, oh all right. Like that, they're all making jokes about Bobo, and Opie's like, get naked for us, because that's the level of humor that I have up in this brain.
Dreams is this next one.
Well, you know, I've joked about Opie's future, but this could be something still. This is what you will get in every bar in America. So in a way, it's an interesting study that Opie's conducting, because it's just, if you go into a bar midday and there's guys sitting around, it'll be guys talking about, yeah, you know, if I wasn't in construction, I think I could have been an actor, you know? Like, it's guys just daydreaming about what might have been. And even with a millionaire like Opie, that's no different.
Swoosh. We're in the basement. I used to be somebody. Now I'm in a basement drinking Utica Club, and I couldn't be happier.
Under a bootleg Mets jersey.
Oh, really?
Cheers.
Hey, pause. Carl's a liar. I heard Carl say he dropped the cheers. That's Opie taking the power back. Good for him. He's taking cheers back. I like that. Carl said he stopped doing it. No, you hear Opie there saying, like, I used to be somebody. And he's about to have a moment of honesty. And then he runs from that so fiercely. He runs away with such vigor after he's about to have a real moment. And he goes, I really used to be somebody. Now I'm down here in a fucking basement drinking with you idiots. And I couldn't be happier. And it's like, well, then why did you frame it like it's this awful thing? You know, why do you bring up every day the old days and what could have been with the Opie and Anthony show? Why is that stuck into your craw so much if you're so glowingly happy?
Because a part of him lives in our reality too. A very small part.
Right.
No, I meant that. I enjoy these.
I used to be big.
I used to be big. I see. Well, we're not setting the world on fire.
Still big, baby.
Maybe someday we'll set the world on fire. We're not setting the world on fire. I don't know how to tell you.
I'm setting the world on
Let's
fire.
start small fires here and there and see what happens, you know?
Yeah. So, Matt, how have you been? 20 minutes into Live at Get Bots.
Well, at least it ain't raining, baby.
Swoosh. That's a big brag now. He's like, 20 minutes in, we haven't even talked about Matt's day yet. Can you believe we made it 20 minutes without saying, and Matt, how are you? I think every radio show, podcast, whatever it is you're doing, live stream, we should all get together and sign a document that has this rule on it. You shouldn't be allowed to broadcast if you can't go 20 minutes without asking Matt how his day has been and leaning on Matt for, I don't know, bar stories or stories about his wife and kid. What's Matt going to provide to the show? He's been nothing but a stain on Opie's reputation and podcast so far. Why is today, 20 minutes in, why is now the time that Matt is going to save you? But Opie, you also hear in that clip where he has this hint of like, we're not setting the world on fire yet. Like he thinks there's a chance this crew one day, like right now, it's a niche thing. It's sort of an underground following. You know, mainstream hasn't accepted them yet. But that's punk rock, baby. That's what it's supposed to be. You don't want to get out to the masses too early. But one day, this could be, you know, once Netflix has some money to free up after they're out of this deal with Kill Tony, I think it's Live at Gepard's live on Netflix. That would be exciting. What would Ron the Waiter do unfiltered? Could you imagine?
I can, and I will not be tuning in. This next one is called A Kid and His Toys.
This was depressing. This was
more depressing than what we've seen. Jeez.
Opie's great skill on the Opie and Anthony show, and people shit on it now, but it provided a lot of laughs over the years. one thing that Opie had in his arsenal was his soundboard. So he would really rely on, if he didn't have a joke, Homer Simpson could yell boo at someone, and that would provide laughs. Now, was it a crutch for Opie that he probably used too much? Sure. But I think it's something that he could rely on this show. Instead, this is what he has to bail him out of not having a thought in that head of his. This was just disappointing.
These people that overuse soundboards. All right, here we go.
Certainly, we have been manipulated with our DNA.
Right. I actually agree with that.
Okay, so the Atlanteans, the lost city of Atlantis, they existed, and they kind of know where Atlantis is now. Atlantis was a highly, highly advanced society.
Uh-oh.
Homo detected. Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I did.
I'm sorry.
Could you go back a little bit? I want to pay that proper respect. That's the homo alarm, folks.
Oh God.
I guess Ron was being a homo. This is where Opie's tried to say, like, in other contexts, and that's why I was amazed he didn't just throw Anthony under the bus when it came up with Ron's resume. Opie is trying to make it seem like Anthony's racism has been the reason that Opie and Anthony's legacy has been tarnished. Well, I guess that's part of it. But I would also say Opie was not innocent in being the ridiculous shock jock that doesn't hold up. And if we could hear it again, I think the homo meter really drives that home.
This is a Michael Scott joke, I swear to God.
Homo detected.
Let me back up a little bit more.
Yeah, I want to really drink it in.
Yes, I know. God damn, it's so long. Hold on, here we go.
In a highly, highly advanced society.
It really is so long.
Homo detected. Homo detected.
I don't even get it because Ron's talking about conspiracy theories.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So,
I love Opie's "did I do that" mentality. He's like, "Can you believe it, guys? Aren't I the worst? Ain't I a stinker?"
So I don't listen to much O&A. Did he do this like all O&A? Did he just destroy and derail the show at any chance possible?
He literally was called the Destroyer. So,
Okay.
So yes, in a way, he would. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Actually, what he just did there. There was a bit Opie would do that I always found very annoying. This was late in the show's run, where I'm trying to think of a topic. Oh. Anthony, Sam, and Travis were all really into Back to the Future. So something came up that led Anthony to referencing Back to the Future, and they all start nerding out over Back to the Future, and they're running with that reference and tying it in to the topic at hand. Since Opie had nothing to contribute to the conversation, he would just pull his phone out and put it right next to the mic and play Candy Crush on full volume. So you would hear the Candy Crush game. And that was Opie's way of being like, haha, I don't care about this. I don't mind that instinct. That's kind of a funny thing for a second. Opie did not have good time management with that bit. His timing of it was not always great because he would let it last for like 15 minutes. And then it's like, okay, well, it was. I actually want to hear what Anthony and Sam are saying now, you know? So yeah, to answer your question, a long way of answering your question, that is the type of shit he would do. And he would just slam on the soundboard. And sometimes it would be very funny. And other times it was just because he had nothing else, you know? And that's an example of what that was. Where Ron, by the way, I don't understand the homo detected thing. Because what Ron was talking about, I don't find any interest in because I think it's just something like boring people have turned to give themselves a personality. But Ron evidently is a big like conspiracy theorist. And none of the like it's all just basic shit, more or less. But you sound wacky when you say it. So Ron's talking about that. And Opie had nothing to add because he doesn't have any interesting thoughts or personality. So he said, homo detected as he sounded the alarm. Because I guess homos talk about, I don't know, conspiracy theories and aliens and shit. I don't know.
A tried and true insult, Mike. It's always true.
Yes.
People who are responsible for the Minotaur.
Oh, that's what I wanted to leave that in to point out that that's the type of shit he was. He's like, so the Minotaurs are taking over, and let me explain to you why. And Opie's contribution to that, instead of making fun of this maniac, he's like, oh, you must be one of them homos because you're talking about a subject I don't know anything about.
It's just all so awkward.
Yes.
Comedy styles was the last one here.
This is tough when you have kind of guys butting heads and conflicting. You say what you want about Opie and Anthony. Peanut butter and jelly, my friends. They were able to go together and make something so magical for so long. Like, they understood each other. They knew when one was zigging and zagging, and they could go with it. I worry that the comedy stylings of Opie and Ron the Waiter, I worry they're going to clash. I worry these two might butt heads, because you see Opie frustrated with Ron getting in the way of his genius.
Swoosh.
Yeah, did you hear about Hooters? Bankruptcy.
What happened? People don't like boobies no more?
That's a perfect Opie topic, by the way. I have nothing on this. I'm just going to say two words. Hooters, bankruptcy. Go ahead, boys. Take the ball and do something crazy with it. You know?
Make daddy some money.
Yes. Opie was Pat Riley. Tossing the ball out there for Magic and Kareem and the boys. And they could really make beautiful things with that ball. Jim and Anthony and the fellas could run with it. When they had comics in there, it was magical. Opie could just bring up a topic, and he could say Opie in 2010, Patrice is in the room, and Colin Quinn and Voss, and Anthony and Jimmy. Opie could easily say, Hooters, bankruptcy. And that could turn into an hour and a half of fun-filled merriment. Let's see what happens when Opie says two words in this room.
It was my joke.
How was it?
I said
Go back.
Like
You heard. We missed Ron steal Opie's joke here, and it's one worth claiming.
Yeah, did you hear about Hooters? Bankruptcy.
What happened? People don't like boobies no more?
That was my joke.
How was it?
I said it looks like America doesn't like tits. I went with the hard.
Nah, boobies are funnier.
No, tits is funnier. But Hooters is just always tasty.
Boys! Easy. Let me separate this dogfight. It's all terrible. Don't worry. It's all the most ham-handed, cheese dick comment. You nailed it earlier, Casey. He's Michael Scott.
Yes.
Opie is a guy that thinks it's comedy, that thinks it's actually like original comedy to say Hooters, tits. Like, just that word association is good enough to make comedy for Opie. And that's the level of thinking Michael Scott would do. And you hear the resentment in Opie's voice where he's like, hey, that's my joke. I think I heard you say, is that a joke? Like, yes. Opie just said, I guess America has fallen out of love with tits would be the natural thing to say. If you say Hooters is like, it's before the first thing you would think. Like, it's a thought you have that you don't even need to say because you're like, that's what everyone would think about this. And Opie thinks he's Joe Rogan at the Comedy Store in 2007. He's like, hey man, I have ownership of that. I'm the guy that noticed the affiliation between Hooters and breasts. I'm the first one to notice that. And then to reduce yourself to arguing with Ron the Waiter, like, Opie's a millionaire. He has a Manhattan apartment. He has a house in the Hamptons. He has a lovely family that I'm sure care very much about him. And he is engaged with this shithead, Ron the Waiter, in an argument about whether boobies or tits are a funnier word. And by the way, Opie's handling it with zero decorum. He's like angry about it. You know, Ron, tits are funnier, you jerk. Was that the end of that?
Favorite? Yeah, that's the end. If you had to pick, Mike, what's the funniest breast?
I'm a tits man. Boobies is if you're trying to sound ridiculous. Like, if I was making fun of Craig talking about girls, you know what I mean? Like edgy Craig. I would say, "Oh, you like their boobs, man?" Like you think that, like it's that in that context, I guess boobies would be funnier. Don't lull me into this conversation. You son of a bitch.
Cans is pretty good in the chat there. I like cans.
No, stop it. Now you're making me do Opie's bit.
I know. All right, we got a few super chats here, and then we'll get to some Coach HP.
All right.
I'm sorry I came really out of the boat on fire for $1.99. Says all gays are given a wash and dryer at birth. DEI.
Is that right?
Yes.
I didn't realize. All right, Opie, I'm sorry. I didn't realize they were so linked to one another.
The one pun, $2. This incarnation of the village people suck. That's
I assume that's more of a visual one.
Yes. They are very strange looking altogether. Aquascape _ Atos, $2. Mike, you are way off with Bill Burr. We tarred.
I know, but tell me why. Stop just saying that. Tell me why I am.
Oh,
I don't get it. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to take in the information and learn, but no one explains to me why I'm off.
Yes. You know who could explain things to you, Mike, and make you understand in a profound way?
Who's that?
Coach HP.
He certainly could, and he seems to be very good at it. I'm a little worried about Coach. He posted a video titled "Opening Day and Corinthians," and I said, "This is interesting." He spent about 4 seconds on opening day. He goes, all right, everyone, it's opening day. The Marlins are not very good. We have the Miami Marlins here, and they have not been good in some time. All right, Bible. That was the amount of time he spent on opening day. He didn't talk about it, but for some reason he titled the video that, so we never get back on opening day. And this is mostly Coach HP embarking on a venture that I'm a little worried about. Although, as we'll find, he might have great success in this crew. I just hope he's not taken in by bad actors. You know, I don't want Coach HP to fall victim to any sort of scheme. You know, we always talk about Scientology, but religion in general can be very cult-like, and it seems like the coach is getting into that world. I'm nervous about him.
By the way, Mike, the leader in the clubhouse in the chat is melons, feeders, and chesticles. Just so you know.
I'm glad to hear that.
Okay.
Feeders is pretty good.
Feeders.
I've been obsessed with Corinthians, part of the Bible, Corinthians. For a minute, I am new. I've always believed in God. I've always felt God's had my back.
You don't hear a lot of that these days. Just got turned on to the Corinthians. These guys are really taking the nation by storm. I'm hearing it's Corinthians mania out there, and we will be going to Shea Stadium to see the Corinthians perform.
Sounds like a boy band that we made.
I've not heard anyone say, "You guys seen this? You hear about this? The Corinthians really did some amazing things back in the day. Let me tell you about them."
Immensely. But I haven't been a very good, let's say, Christian per se, because I just have always lived like if God blessed me and then I just live. I don't spread the word of God. I don't talk about anything about God. I just say, God bless me, and then I help so many people. But I don't
in a way, I do not need to follow the Lord's rules because I am sort of doing his work for him, you see. I am very Christ-like as it is, so I did not think it was necessary for me to practice the way of Christ.
I do everything but the Jesus ball washing.
This is, if you think we're making a mountain out of a molehill, wait till you hear what this guy thinks of himself and where he stands in the hierarchy of religion.
Actually bring the Bible or bring anything I do into life. Now, I'm not perfect, but I'm very good, especially as a married man. I'm pretty close to a 10 as it can be.
I am not perfect, but I am quite close. I am about as close as a human man could be to perfect. This guy doesn't need saving. He should be doing the saving, as I think people in his religious experience started to realize pretty quickly.
Yeah. Is he in a cult? Is that
you guys tell me. I don't know a ton about religion. I think going to church on Sunday, if that's the life you want to live, I say go for it, baby.
No.
This seems like a little more than that. And I do start to worry when I hear some of the phrasing that Coach HP is using. I think, oh, this is how documentaries start.
If you do go to church, make sure you bring your phone so you can listen to the Blind Mike Project at church.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Wait for an afternoon service or something.
Yes, or a break or something.
Yeah.
Swoosh.
And I'm rolling with it. But I've been obsessed with ever since I did Emmaus. I did Emmaus probably 5-6 years ago. And I wouldn't have done it except it was for a very good friend of mine. I had no idea what it was. And he's like, dude, you got to do Emmaus. He set it up for me. He paid for me. He made sure I did everything.
I would not have done it except it was absolutely free of cost for me. Except some other poor sap paid my way entirely. And then I said, well, I suppose I could use a good vacation.
God works best on discount.
How could you let a man pay for this experience for you? It seems so strange. He paid entirely for me, and I feel no guilt about that. And of course, I am Christ-like in my ways.
Is he saying amaze?
Emmaus, I believe.
Oh.
So it's some sort of like religious walkabout. I looked it up, didn't fully understand it, but it seems like something you go to get in touch with religion or God or whatever it is. And it feels a little like something, maybe the Church of Scientology would have. Or so, it does feel a little culty to me, but maybe he dissuades us of any of that notion.
The man paid so I can walk.
That's right. Well, there's one set of footprints, and it's Coach HP's. That's the path I've been following.
And when I was there,
and they're cleats.
They based it off the road to Emmaus, which is in the Bible, I guess, when something special.
Yes!
I haven't read that,
Yes!
so
What do you mean?
get to that one.
I am not very well versed in this religion. I just take free trips when they are offered to me.
It was a walking trip. I could not turn it down.
I was more in it for the hotel and accommodations, but I couldn't be bothered to open the Bible, despite completely being rejuvenated for religion, as I mentioned.
I opened up one page. It said Corinthians. I fell in love.
But you spend 2 days. It was a Friday. You get to Friday, Saturday. You get out of there Sunday. No cell phone.
Well, let me explain what days are to you. If you start on a Friday and it takes up 2 days, then you have Saturday and you have Sundays when you leave. That is typically the 2-day weekend cycle.
Contact with the outside world at all. And it's literally people sharing their stories, their testimony.
So if you missed that, I talked over it a little bit, but no contact with the outside world. So you're on this walkabout in a group that he will explain the demographics of in a moment. You have to turn in your cell phone and completely be detached for whatever length of time. Get a little creepy vibes, but let's continue.
Their life and how it goes and about this and about that. And the one thing I picked up from that was that my life is extremely blessed the way I turned out. People, and it's all guys, by the way, so it's all guys. Dudes were talking about their stories of this and that, and man, was it tough. Whether it was stories, listen, I came from abuse, but it was through a sport, and I felt like it really helped me. I'm one of the few that I think it, I don't know how, it like unlocked super positivity, Plus, my dad never really spoiled me, so it was the complete reverse. So I'm super grateful for everything I...
Swoosh.
So he has no reason to be there. He has a perfect life. He didn't sacrifice anything to get there. It was free of charge to him and everything. And he's like, it's all dudes, which is very important. The bros got together and we walked through the woods and they all shared stories, what brought them there and everything. And my only thought was, man, I am perfect because none of their lives compared to mine. I am much better than all of these men in every aspect. So what you're saying is you didn't need this experience.
No.
All it did was boost your ego even to crazier heights than it already was.
I now go to AA meetings to get the same experience.
Oh,
I just listen to the
what a
terrorists.
rush. When I hear a young girl woke up in a gutter somewhere, I think, oh, how blessed am I that I do not have that experience. When I hear of straight men sucking dick for heroin, oh, the satisfaction I feel that is not my life. It is a great pleasure to me.
Paul is this next one.
This is insane. If you don't know who Paul is, it's the first thing you thought of when religion was brought up. Yes, he compares himself to Paul here. If you need further explanation, Coach HP, take it away.
Swoosh. When I was talking to the group kind of compared me to Paul. And they're like, man, you're just like Paul. Paul was this way, even though I think Paul was very aggressively into violence. That wasn't my case at all. But he became one of the strongest gospels ever. Gospels or apostles.
There you go.
I think he said apostles. Apostles ever. And I became like, well, it really stuck me. Oh, this Paul guy I liked, you know. And then I saw the movie of Paul, coincidentally, that came out with Jim Caviezel, which was awesome. One of my favorite movies.
I don't think that's what that was, by the way. Is he talking about the Passion of the Christ?
Caviezel has made more religious movies since
Oh,
then,
okay.
So
All
it's
right, so
always
maybe
hard
he's
to
in a
tell
movie
with
of
that
Paul.
guy.
It's so if you're still a little confused based on context, and you're thinking, Mike, well, we don't know Paul. We can't. There's just some guy named Paul in the group that they all said, hey, you're like him. No. Jesus's apostle, Paul. They all said to me, you know who you are exactly like? You are like Paul. Now, I assume that means a lot in religion for people to say, hey, you're exactly like one of the apostles. And Coach HP hears that information. He's like, I do not care for all of his methods, actually. He was a little crueler than I would have been. So I think what you're trying to say is I'm better than Paul. I am sort of a new era of Paul, you know? I'm Paul 2.0. It's like, okay, Coach. Very good. That, I think, might be the craziest thing we've heard him say. Is, you know, a lot of people say I'm like Paul, and I think I'm a little more Jesus-like, wouldn't you say?
I just checked. Paul was like the Jordan of the apostles. He wrote like 13 of the 27 texts. He brought Jesus to the Roman Empire. So he's
That's exactly like me when I told David Lucas to keep going with comedy. That's exactly what I was behaving like Paul when I cried and told Brendan Schaub he was a gift to the arts.
Someone needs to tell HP that Paul was also martyred. So, you know, you watch that.
Coach, look out.
Yes. Next one called Pictures. Last one.
Okay, so this is a theory he's had for a long time. I don't know if you guys remember this. Actually, there's a playlist of Coach HP where you can go back through the archives. We haven't made a Coach HP playlist. So if you don't know who the fuck we're talking about here, go back to the archive. Well, you didn't stick with us if you don't know who we're talking about. But if you missed some of the early Coach HP coverage, we have a playlist on our YouTube channel, so go check that out. But me and Craig talked about this theory that Coach HP has when he says, you know, we talk about it. If you look at a photograph, who is the first person you look for? Of course, it's you. You look for yourself. But Coach does have one twist on that, and that it's if your wife is a hot piece of ass, like Coach HP is about to describe.
By the way, this is a video I just checked. 14 views. 14 views. Not that it matters, but it is such an interesting fact about HP.
That he's doing it for no one, you mean?
No.
He has a big Instagram following, which I'm surprised.
Okay.
I think he wants to expand beyond that, I guess. But, you know, I'm not going to fault him for that. I say keep hustling if you want to. I respect that.
It would have been funny if he had 12. I'm just saying.
He did. I believe when I saw this video, he did. So I made the movement grow.
I can only have as many viewers as Jesus had disciples.
Yes.
Pictures. There we go.
Swoosh. And it's usually nobody because everybody's worried about who? Themselves. We've said this a bunch. Somebody takes a picture. You guys take a picture. Who's the first person you look for in the picture? You look at yourself. See how I came up with. It'd be weird if you look at how your homie came up with. I sometimes, you know what? If every time I'm in a picture of my wife, I always check her out. You know? Because my wife, to me, is so beautiful that sometimes pictures don't do her justice. And it's like the weird
I check her out
angles.
to see what a dog she is looking like. I say, if only you saw her in the bedroom, you know? These clothes, they may look good on her now, but they look a lot better on my floor. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand the beauty. So if you look at a picture and you don't think my wife is up to snuff, I assure you, she is dynamite in person.
I don't even think Paul had a wife, so I am already up on Paul.
I'm better than that loser. That pussy, Paul. He didn't get chicks like I do.
Stuff, but that's why I look at my chick first to celebrate her, and then I look at myself, you know? But love. Love.
What a segue. Love. I have nothing else to say other than Paul is a little incel bitch, and he did not get chicks like I do.
Ringo starred us at the end. He peace and loved us on the way out.
He does, like, it is funny because when we heard him talking to that woman that was like the NFL PR person, the way he was talking to her was very flirty. So I think that's why he's like at the beginning, especially as a married man, it's amazing I have not cheated because women just throw themselves at me day and night. And these are very beautiful women. So I am threatened with temptation all the time, you understand? Beautiful gash hurls itself at me and says, Coach, please take us. And I say, but I can't, I am married. Much like my guy Paul.
I love HP.
Yeah, he doesn't put out enough.
Following.
He doesn't put enough content out. I wish he did more. I wish he. I don't know. I don't know what he needs to do to get his videos up, different thumbnails or titles or whatever it is. But he should have a greater following of people that are interested in the ways of Coach because, you know, he's Christ-like, as he's pointed out. He's not some tag-along Paul bitch. He's like Jesus.
Also, get the Blind Mike interview bump, huh? Maybe get him on here.
Well, here's the problem. He refused to come on.
It's because I haven't tried. I haven't reached out.
Well, so here's what happened. For anyone that doesn't know the story, someone in our camp reached out to Coach HP and gave him a phone number that was not mine. It was actually Craig Ironhead Aconi's phone number.
Triggers.
So Coach messaged him and said, Mike, we need to talk. And Craig was like, this isn't Mike. Who's this? And he goes, it's Coach HP. And so Craig came to me with this and was like, did you give this guy my phone number? I said, no, but here's what you can tell him. I said, let's book him on the show. So Craig tried booking him on the show and he said, no, this is a private matter I need to speak to him about.
Oh, no.
So I think he wanted to tell me off. Yeah. I think he was going to be not so nice, Coach HP.
Oh,
Paul would always pull people aside to chastise them in private.
Yes. We'll send tits after him. Electra, we'll send tits after him. She'll get him. Right. We have a super chat here for you, and then we'll get on to the fight of the day. Dang.lizard for €5. Blind Mike, you're off on Bill Burr. And you can't read a room.
You son of a bitch. How? I'm asking. How? Give me the deets. Tell me. I'm willing to say I'm wrong. Just explain to me how.
He does have a question for you.
What's that?
When do you know when you're finished wiping? Hacka.
This son of a bitch has got me again.
All right. It is the time for the main event, Mike.
Yeah, so I saw people talk about this. I saw Carl cover it earlier in the week, but I said, it's sort of my duty. Like a firefighter running into a burning building. This is what I do. And when Aaron Imholt humiliates a disabled man, I guess that's sort of my job to cover. But I might have a slightly different take than some people. I heard people shaming Aaron for abusing his disabled co-host. My take on that is Johnny volunteered. Like, he's a person like anyone else. If he was uncomfortable doing it, he shouldn't have said he was going to do it. I actually think it's, judging Johnny differently than you would anyone else is actually the worst way to approach him. Like, if Johnny really wants to go about that, good for Johnny. I'm more interested in the shameless, brazen joy Aaron is getting out of this. Like we mentioned last week, how Craig was like, hey, send your donations in. I was like uncomfortable with that, genuinely. The idea that Aaron feels no discomfort in Johnny struggling, standing in pain to make Aaron money. What a noble hero Johnny is, that is not getting any appreciation. So we're examining Aaron today, and then we're also mixing in some clips where we wonder, we look at a guy that Aaron used to talk about, and try and measure them up against one another and say who's really worse now. We'll see if we can put our finger exactly on that. But let's hear what Aaron was up to earlier this week.
Donation war. It begins.
This is very exciting. When the donors start talking shit, hey, I'm going to give more money than you son of a bitch. Like, that's when things really ramp up for Steel Toe. That's when it gets exciting.
Swoosh. Rebecca with $5 says, fuck off, Lab Glass. Pussy envy, big time. Ooh, donation war. I'm just trying.
Dude, if we start a donation war, I will stand for it. I will filibuster the donation war.
That's right.
Cory fucking Booker.
Johnny will stand up if we can knock out today's goal.
I will raise the desk and the camera, and I will
Aaron
stay
doesn't
as long
even
as
bat
the
an
donation.
eye and think like, nah, man, I have a little dignity. I don't need a guy in a wheelchair to stand for me. Johnny really is a noble hero. And has he been brainwashed enough that this is worth it to him? Like, they don't ever mention Johnny getting any of this money or anything. Is it worth it to Johnny? I imagine, I don't know enough about his condition. I imagine standing is very difficult. What's in it for him? I think he's been brainwashed enough to think that the goal really matters. Like, he's looking at it like, oh, shit, we need to hit this goal. I'm willing to go as far as create a miracle and have a crippled man stand for X amount of time.
Donations come in.
Stand up. Johnny will stand up during the donation rally.
Let's unlock the desk. All right, we're ready to go.
Johnny's ready to stand up.
Button.
Johnny's going to stand up. We're desperate today.
I'm fitting to raise up in this bit.
We're desperate today. As long as the donations keep coming in, Johnny will stand up. So as long as, what should the clock be? 1 minute or 5 minutes? That
Jesus.
If the donation doesn't come in,
What a
you sit
disparity.
5 minutes.
That's 5 minutes would be an eternity compared to 1 minute.
$1.99 up for another half hour, Johnny.
Well, I did a soft test on this. We'll give him 2 minutes between
This
donations.
poor guy. This poor brainwashed man was at home, standing alone in a dark room, going, "Will this appease Aaron? I've been up for 1:45 now. Is that good enough for Mr. Imholt?" This poor bastard. Again, maybe because I'm in a similar situation to Johnny, where it's like, I wouldn't want to be looked at as like, oh, this man's abusing you. You know what I mean? Like, with like the spike ball and ping pong stuff that I did for Barstool, there would be people that would go like, that's rude of them to do. It's like, well, then you don't see me as a person because I signed off on this, you know? You're the one treating me shittily, in my opinion. So Johnny volunteering, that's terrific. Aaron not batting an eye and going, yep, this freak will stand if that's what gets us money. Like, there's no sense of pride where it's like, hey, Johnny, I appreciate you doing that, but that's ridiculous. We're not going to have you stand for my money. Like, the stuff I did at Barstool, I don't have a problem with. If I then did a dunk tank where you could throw a wallet at my face for $1, that's when it starts getting sad. Like, that's when you're like, all right, have some fucking humanity for this man.
2 minutes between donations. As long as donations come in, you stay standing?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the next one, and we'll start the clock, and we'll do the whole thing.
250 away from today's goal. Johnny's doing
This is a prideful moment for Aaron. Like, hey, we've had a good idea.
I've done something here.
Ending rally. Swoosh.
All right, not abuse. Another Aaron clip.
Well, and like I said, I sort of agree with it. But then when you look at Aaron, I think like in another context, it would be easier to make the argument of like, hey, Johnny's just playing along. But when you watch Aaron, you see that he had no respect for this man, and all he's thinking of are dollars. That not for a second did Aaron go like, hey, all the money will go to Johnny. He's the one doing this. Then it would be worth it. But this licking the lips and rubbing your hands together that Aaron is doing, that's when it gets a little, ugh.
Swoosh. 2 minutes on the clock. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. Johnny is standing, and he will stay standing as long as there are donations coming into the toe.
I can't wait to hear the people going, he's abusing you, using your disability to make money.
Hey, before you guys start saying that, I just want to say this right now openly. Yes, I am.
Oh, I was going to say, I fully came up with the idea.
Johnny's like, hey, no, say it was mine. And he's like, yes, I am abusing him. What Johnny has, I believe, is called Munchausen syndrome. Is that the right term?
I think it's Stockholm syndrome. Maybe?
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, that's more what I'm looking for. Where he's like, he thinks he has to do this for Aaron's approval or something. Which again, like if Johnny wants to do it, I say more power to him. But Aaron not having a second of like, hey, this actually makes me look bad. That's what I'm fascinated by. I don't give a fuck. Maybe they're friends and he knows that this doesn't bother or embarrass Johnny. It embarrasses Aaron. And that's what he doesn't get. That's what I'm captivated by. That Aaron never for a minute is like, well, I'll look bad doing this. Because as long as $10 comes in, then it's all worth it.
Yeah, Johnny is Aaron's Patty Hearst here.
But yes, you came up with the idea, but I am very graciously accepting
okay with it. Right.
And I support this. Johnny stays standing for another minute and a half, or the clock resets every time there's a donation. So as long as donations keep coming in, Johnny stands up.
There's also nothing to this. It's like, so we're looking at a man stand. The only benefit is for people that are like, oh, he's crippled, and that's got to be really difficult for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not making a funny video. And again, like I can empathize with Johnny's character here because I've done some of this stuff. And to me, I don't always get like spike ball ping pong. It's like, hey, the blind guy couldn't see the ping pong ball. Who would have expected that? So I never totally understood why they were so popular. But you're watching something. You know what I mean? You're watching an action. And that was the part I could always wrap my mind around of like, I'm sure if I could see it, I would find it to be a funny video, you know? Yeah. This is just a guy is standing and we have the satisfaction of knowing it hurts him. That's what I don't get about this bit is there's no payoff for the viewer. There's nothing exciting happening.
Now, if they would have put the camera down by his legs and the legs were shaking, that might be something, but it's still.
Well, and the other thing is like, it's funny when I get a point in ping pong. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you couldn't even shut out a blind guy. That sort of a thing. With Johnny, there's no other shoe dropping here. It's just, hey, look at him. His knees are getting weaker.
He just collapses on the ground. We win, I guess.
Tall. Yeah, this ain't going to work either. I think today's doomed to be like one of our worst days in a long time.
Oh, shit.
You got a minute 10 that you have to stay standing. We still haven't gotten to penis guy. Penis mask.
Yeah, dude, we haven't gotten to penis head, dude.
Well, that's exciting. We better stick around. I hope there's overtime today.
I hope you're still standing when we get to the penis man.
We're going to get the penis hat guy. First, Paul with $2. Restart the clock. He says, rise, Johnny. There we go. All right, 226.40 is the number on that one. You need me more with $1, says stand tall, my man. Fauci's Pangolin gifting a membership. We're at 245. And now Johnny's, all right, 2 minutes resets. Swoosh.
I bet his legs are getting weak. Isn't that hilarious?
I mean, put him in roller skates or something. That would be funny. Come on.
Like I said, I'm not faulting them for the bit. I'm not like, oh, you poor thing, poor Johnny. I just don't feel that way. I don't have that side of it in me. I could see Opie and Anthony or Howard Stern or someone like that doing a bit adjacent to this back in the day. But there would have been some payoff for the listener. It wouldn't just be in the background of a show. There's a crippled man standing while the host counts money. There would be some actual payoff that we get satisfaction out of. Not just Johnny hurting himself and the host adding the money that comes in. It's the craziest bit. There's no sense to it.
That idea train has broken down. They're just like pointing at things in the room. Can that be a show? Johnny, stand up. That's a show. Look at the spoon. That's a show.
That's what I mean. To me, Johnny standing up, I'm not looking at it as like, oh, they're abusing a crippled guy. I'm looking at it from the radio perspective of this is the equivalent of, hey, we'll flick the lights on and off 8,000 times if you guys give us money. Who would give a fuck? There's nothing interesting happening.
No, I think now we go over to DSP.
Well, so this is where I wanted to check in on an old friend of Aaron's because we've broken down the similarities in the past of Aaron and DSP, Dark Side Phil, I believe the gentleman's name is. Aaron used to make fun of Dark Side Phil for his begging. I don't keep tabs on Dark Side Phil. He's not someone I follow or care about. But someone on Patreon sent me this clip this week. Sorry, sir, I don't remember your name, but thank you for sending me the video. And he said, I know you don't cover Dark Side Phil that often, but you might find this particular video interesting because there's a lot of glaring similarities to Aaron. And I just thought, we'll look at what Aaron's doing with Johnny Crutches, and you tell me who's worse. Let's look at what Dark Side Phil is doing. Aaron chastised this man for many months back in the day and said what Dark Side Phil is doing is wrong, and he would criticize him. Let's see if you notice any similarities. This is how Dark Side Phil runs his show. And I don't know, tell me if you notice anything that maybe we've heard before.
Swoosh. You know, how much does it cost? I looked it up. The good news is it is for delivery. I could get it today if I wanted to. If we hit 6 goals on this stream, 6 goals, all right?
Hey, Casey, last time you were here, we were fighting towards 6 weeks of perfection. Isn't that crazy?
One show. And he's ordering what you see here on the screen is a Minecraft movie meal. So it's some sort of movie meal from McDonald's that he wants to get people to order for him.
It's a horrible bit that I can't imagine anyone caring about. But what he's saying is, and this is really interesting, if we hit all our goals today, then I will do these things. It's kind of like being under 300 by 7 o'clock and being under 200 by 8 o'clock and being under 100 by 9 o'clock. It's kind of like that. And then by the end of the show, if we hit our goal, it's almost as if it's exactly the same model. It's very interesting.
We'll order the Minecraft meal today. We'll order both. But we have to hit 6 goals. So that's what? $900. If we get $900 of support on this stream, we will order
That's
both
something I would say
meals.
is a joke. Like a number, like, oh, obviously we're not going to get there today. What if you guys gave me $900? He's really asking for that.
That is insane.
Today, live on the show. Okay? Swoosh.
All right, back to Aaron.
I don't know if you guys could tell. That was actually that was during Steel Toe. That was just a clip I took from Steel Toe, and now we get back to Johnny Crutches.
Swoosh. The trick is not to knock out the whole goal right away, because if we do, you get to sit down again. Either until the goal's hit or 2 minutes. Coltrane with $2 says,
Aaron's. I didn't catch it the first time. Aaron's actively like, wouldn't it be funny to torture this guy and then donate at the last second? That's an element I didn't realize, where it's like, all right, Aaron, how about, or you could just bet. You always obsess over getting the goal done early unless there's a crippled man standing up.
He turned into one of his trolls.
Yes.
He turned into MSO, like right away. I'm MSO.
Yeah.
The clock. We're back to 200.
Clock is reset again.
Stephanie gifting 10 Steel Toe memberships. Oh,
Stephanie.
my God.
Stephanie. Always Stephanie.
Let's give Stephanie a drop.
Let's do it for Johnny, man. We'll do it for Johnny.
That's worth the price of admission. Imagine getting a sound drop when you pay for something that you could just find on the internet.
But you had to wait 2 seconds for it also.
Away from today's goal. We're just about back on track. The Johnny standing rally. Swoosh.
Heroic work by Aaron.
I think it's by Johnny, but I like that you perceive it as Aaron's heroic work.
Swoosh.
I'm still standing.
All right, man. You might get to
can I
sit
pause
your
real
ass
quick?
down.
You must understand by this point how annoying those swooshes are, yes?
But they've changed this. I'll never do them again. I'll never do them again. And they're baked into the cake at this point.
I'm just acknowledging for the folks out there, I also hear it. I don't want you to think you're crazy.
But that one guy who didn't like the swooshes last week.
Yes, it's revenge on a guy that commented. Good. I'm glad we got
We left a voicemail on not even your phone, on Carl. So I guess I might have overreacted. Anyway.
That's not a bad thing.
That would be 9 minutes. In 30 seconds, it will be a 9-minute stand. Let's see. So far, so good. And then Penis Hat is next. 15 seconds. If no other contributions come in, Johnny gets to sit down. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me hit refresh. Oh, $1 from Moose.
Yes! We did it! Oh, Johnny, it must feel so good. We got $1, which means we got 70 cents after YouTube takes their cut.
Here, I'm gonna throw a quarter at you. Don't have to pick it up. That would be bad for your legs.
Yes, we got 4 quarters, Johnny. Are you excited? 23 skidoo.
We might have to amputate, but it was so worth it.
Alive.
The filler booker continues.
The filler.
I was thinking about that with all the talk of. By the way, that's a great name for it. The filler booker is really natural. I was thinking about that with all the talk of inflation and everything going on. It's crazy. There was a time in this country where like a penny was actually worth something. Like if someone handed you a penny, 100+ years ago, it wasn't an insult. And I like that still holds true on the Steel Toe Morning Show. You can give them pennies, and that's worth a man defying the odds of science and standing. If you give him enough pennies, he'll do that.
Could be the best dollar you ever spend as far as what you get out of it.
Yeah, there's no minimum. There's no like, hey, maybe if Johnny's doing this for everyone that gives $20, that would actually be worth it. The price on Johnny and Aaron's dignity, there's no floor to it. There's no price. Too low.
We're still looking. We're still falling.
Continues. $2 from Coltrane. He says, reset it. You need me more with $1, says poor Johnny. They kept you all the way to the end that time.
Right.
$5 from Toe Rogan. He says, I'm helping.
Thank you.
145 away from today's goal. And we are on track with today's goal. Thanks to Johnny saving the show today.
Yes.
He does
Johnny
appear to be struggling a little too physically, Mike, here to stand.
I'm certain he is. But again, he signed up for that. It's his. I don't have. I'm not like, oh, the poor guy. I don't have that because like he wanted to do it, and if he didn't want to, I assume he'd be allowed to say something. If Aaron didn't allow him to quit, then that would be crazy. But like he did volunteer for it, so I'm not like, oh, woe is me, poor Johnny. I'm more focused on that. There's no element of like, oh, hey, maybe it's not worth this for like $40, because literally Aaron's saying Johnny saved the show today, which is implying if there was not a crippled man standing, saying nothing, by the way, Johnny adds nothing verbally. He just happens to be standing there. And if he wasn't doing that, the show would have been an abysmal failure. That's what I'm fixated on. Like, Aaron didn't have anything prepared to do an interesting show. It's the fact that this crippled hero stood up for what ended up being like 30 minutes, which is insane to make him do that for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so what? Aaron had an extra $40, $90, whatever it ended up being.
Listen, my mind has already moved on to what can we make Kragers do? And what can we pay to make Kragers do?
This is where the analogy ends for me, because it's not something that there's no challenge, like blind guy challenge, that's equivalent of that physically. You know what I mean? Like if you made me read small print, it's not the physical tax that I imagine Johnny standing would be. So that's where my analogy sort of ends, is like I wouldn't be in physical pain doing that. But there would be at some point like, hey, what's the payoff? Are a ton of people going to watch this? You know what I mean? Are you going to put it out as a clip to hopefully get buzz on social media? Is it going to be really interesting to the viewer? Are we going to make an exorbitant amount of money, way more than we've ever made before? The answer to all of those is no. We're going to make the same amount we do every day, and you're going to put yourself through excruciating pain for it. That's what I find interesting.
Johnny with the idea for the...
I won't stand for such rumors.
What was this, the Booker Buster?
Yeah, the Filibooker.
The Filibooker. That's what it is. Whoosh.
That's what he gave Johnny. That's the carrot on the end of the stick. Johnny got to name this bit. The Filibooker, which is topical, I suppose, but doesn't make any sense for this context.
I have no idea what that means. What is Booker?
Cory Booker filibustered this week, and
why would you?
How is it? It's not. He wasn't receiving donations. It doesn't quite work for me, but maybe contextually, the listeners got it more than I did.
I would have called it Phila ACL Buster. Hey, see, that's better.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay, maybe not. All right, back to DSP. He's about to shave for his goal, Mike.
Well, this is way more humiliating what DSP is doing, right? There's not a direct comparison between what Aaron's doing and what DSP is doing. Now, we just saw Aaron, and that's totally normal. We're about to watch a guy who's shameless.
Swoosh.
If we hit $900 of support by the end of this stream, that's right, this stream I'm on right now. So if we raise $900 on this stream, all right,
the miracle,
I will shave my beard. I'm not going to shave my hair, but I will shave my beard completely. And we will have clean-faced Phil with no beard for the first time since 2010, the first time in 15 years. I will have no beard in my content to celebrate my return to Connecticut.
Swoosh.
Now I have to ask you folks, can we put a poll in the chat? I've seen people do that. Let's put a poll up if that's possible. What has more dignity? What has more pride attached to it? Shaving your own beard or making a guy in a wheelchair stand up? I wonder what the people would think.
That's a tough one.
But like at least, like Phil is doing something to himself that really takes no effort. I think Aaron has surpassed him. Like if you told me, hey, Aaron, it's gotten so bad that Aaron's like, hey, I'll shave for money today, I would say, oh God, that's pretty rough. But if you said the next day, he's like, hey, I'm gonna make Johnny stand, I would say, boy, he's really skipped a few steps. So I think I'm sorry, Johnny. I think Aaron has leapfrogged DSP in terms of the depths he will go.
All right, put it in the chat. What's worse, shaving or standing? Let us know.
Yeah, you guys tell me. I can't decide morally which is more repugnant.
Swoosh. Klopogram says this is disgusting, not fun.
I don't know.
It's Johnny's fucking idea. I just love it. Camo Girl with
See, that's what people were
$1.99
referring to. You loving it. Again, if Johnny wanted to do that, I would be so embarrassed if Johnny was doing that to make me $90. I forget the exact amount. Let's say, you know what? Let's bump it up. Let's say it's $150 they made during this rally. I can't imagine my buddy Ted Sellers, who's in a wheelchair, if he was like, Mike, I'm willing to stand for you. What's your price, friend? I like to think I would shoot a little higher than $150. You know, I'd be like, hey, Ted, maybe if we made a few $1,000s and I split it with you, would that be worth it to you? Not $80. The same amount you get every other day for just talking about the goal. Like, that doesn't seem worth it. That's what's crazy to me is the price. It's like you're playing a game, you're playing a game with your boys. I imagine this goes a lot on Very Good Show. This is the type of content I think they talk about on verygoodshow.org. They're like, would you ever suck a dick for $1 million? And they're all like, no, I'm not that gay. You know, I'm sure that's the kind of stuff that goes on there. Well, it would be like if one of them, if they didn't say the $1 million and one of them interrupted and said, for $5? Yeah, definitely. I would. We could have gotten much higher. The price was way out of reach. I wasn't supposed to sell my soul for $5. That's kind of what this feels like, I guess. The analogy might have been a little convoluted, but I wanted to insult Craig in the process.
I got it, and I like it.
Did you get my super chat? Yes, we did count it. I'm sorry if I didn't read it. I apologize. Thank you for the $1.99. Restart the clock. 2:37. How you hanging in there?
I'm good. Deadpool fell off the mic, but we'll fix him later.
The more reaching and grabbing you do for shit, the more you're getting people to go fall down.
Are people really thinking that?
Aaron's thinking.
Are people like, good, I hope you fall? Like, I don't know. Maybe this is like my Bill Burr take. Everyone will criticize me. I would think, holy shit, how's he able to stand this long? I'm not like, good, eat it, you son of a bitch. Eat carpet, you prick.
There's a look on Aaron's face you're missing through all this too that just says like, this was high school for me. Either I was the guy getting bullied or I was the bullier, but I am reliving something here, and it's a good time.
Yeah. It's interesting to find a guy that doesn't have any of that, like, oh yeah, I did that in high school because I was a child, you know? And I don't do that now that I'm 40.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to reach and grab for stuff then.
All right, man. You are free in a minute and a half.
That's what they all say.
You are free in a minute and a
Tell that
half.
to my marriage lawyer.
We usually have a divorce lawyer, not a marriage lawyer. But
Not when you do it my
These
way.
two. Hey, you know what? The bit might not be working, but at least they are crushing these two.
There's a bar in New York you guys need to get to the basement of immediately with this sort of humor.
This
Ron
is
is
it. This is bumping mics. This is just the chemistry these two have is unbelievable.
120 away from today's goal. And Johnny is standing for another. Oh, fuck. What was the.
A minute and a half a while ago.
Oh, okay. So you've got a minute and 10
I'd be
seconds.
like, hey, cunt, if I'm doing this for you, could you at least pay attention to the time? You son of a bitch.
Johnny's now hitting the pipe to manage the standing. So
I'm about to have a hernia. I'm in such stressful pain.
the price of dignity, Mike. The price of dignity. That's the next clip. Price of dignity.
Oh, good. Well, let's see. Maybe we will learn exactly the amount that it is worth this.
Swoosh.
Except I'm still tarted.
Toad Climbs Mountain says should have been a $10 minimum for this abuse and throws us 10.
Thank you.
All right, from now on, now that we're at a hundo, here's what we should do. We should have made some kind of minimum. $5 minimum to keep this going.
Oh, the guy suggested 10. A man in the chat said, I think the lowest you should do is $10. And Aaron's like, that sounds like a scam. Let's go 5. I don't know if anyone's going to pay 10 for this. They literally tried to encourage him to pay more money. And Aaron's like, nah, I'm not falling for that game. Maybe people will do it for $5. It never occurred to Aaron that, hey, maybe if I'm going to sell my soul in this way, maybe have a floor, you know?
Yes.
Maybe have a minimum we have to make. Or it could have been, hey, Johnny will stand for a minimum of 20 minutes if we make $1,000 today. You know what I mean? Like there could have been some preemptive thing to this. Aaron has set up a world where Johnny could have stood for, so it was by metrics of 2 minutes, I believe, was the original agreement. So Johnny could have stood for an hour for the price of $30.
Yes.
if everyone wanted to drag it out. That, to me, is mismanagement of funds, I think.
Yes. And then they finally decide to do this. Oh, his legs are black. Well, now let's put a $5 minimum on it.
That's where, like, I'm not offended for Johnny's sake. I'm offended by what Johnny is worth to Aaron. Yes. Where it's like, oh, yeah, that's worth upwards of $30.
Okay.
All right.
And then the $10 limit, way too high. Let's lower that. Come on.
This guy's not getting, this freak's not getting $10 to stand.
Look at this guy. $10. Get out.
Fine with that.
We're raising the stakes. You just can't do $1 every 2 minutes. No, you guys haven't been doing that.
Yes, they have.
Susan with $2 says,
oh, you misunderstood. Here's how good my toe has gotten. I'm speaking pretty fluent toe these days. Here's how good I've gotten. Aaron is saying collectively if they give $10.
Okay.
So you know, it'd be really funny if 10 of you gave $1. Aaron's not saying you have to get a $10 donation. So Aaron is still, he's saying like, hey, if you want, I'm sorry, 5. He's saying if you want to give 5 or 5 of you want to give 1, however you want to slice it up is fine with me. So there's really not that much dignity injected into this.
He's still worthless, but just in a different way.
Yeah, only slightly less worthless.
Aaron, run in place now. Yeah, should I have to do something?
I don't know. You come up with that on your own. I'm not an able-bodied
Good
person.
for you,
so
Johnny.
standing was a big deal.
Like I should
Haven't I done enough? I have to fucking maestro this bit even further.
Yes. Can you do show prep for me too, Johnny? Listen, just take all the reins here.
Run in place or something. All right, start the clock. 242.50. 242.50 is the number. $100 away from today's goal. I stand
Wait a minute.
in
Whoa.
solidarity.
242.50. What does that mean?
Maybe the full goal that's left?
First of all, he's counting pennies now?
Yes.
And that means at most they've made $100?
Yeah, I think he said we're at now that we're at $100, things were going to change and we're going to make it $5.
Jesus Christ. And that's a long way to go, by the way.
Correct.
If you've only made $100 so far and you have 2.5 times that left.
Yes. And now Aaron is standing up for some reason. So.
Oh, good. That's important. That's the exact same.
Parody with Johnny.
And that's like if you handed me and Casey a 12-point font book, and we're like, both of you read this. That'll be just as challenging for each of you.
I should wear blacked out sunglasses and try to produce the show. Just can't see anything and try to press the buttons.
This is where it gets insulting for me. I'll also stand. Oh, thanks, buddy.
I stand with Johnny.
I'm standing too. I'm standing too.
Very brave.
Oh my God, this is the stupidest thing.
All right, we got a minute and a half left of standing. Swoosh.
Is that Johnny getting like embarrassed where he's like, oh God, now it's really embarrassing?
I think Johnny's all in.
The visual of this, where they're both standing, doing no content, by the way. No. There's no funny riffs happening. There's no joking. They're reading the chat and standing. And that is content to them. Much like someone Aaron used to mock.
Yes.
Swoosh.
I want to talk about this 100-goal celebration because right now we're at 84, right? And by the way,
how long until Aaron steals this?
Next 84 goals.
I'm excited. To be honest with you, the clip the guy sent me was only like 10 minutes long. So I didn't get enough DSP. I don't know what he's talking about. The 100 goals celebration.
Oh, God,
they've hit 84 of. Oh, you know what it is?
No, just this idea of the macro goal. Like,
yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 100 goals in a row, 100 total in some amount of time. I don't know what he's referring to, but I'll tell you this: I'm excited for whenever Aaron adopts it.
Oh my God, Aaron, how many total goals have you hit? Total, go count.
This show, if he has 100 goal. Whatever the fuck this
celebration.
is. Celebration. This show will just be monitoring that. Hey, if you didn't like my Bill Burr rant today, you're in luck because we'll only be talking about the 100-goal challenge.
Oh, that is fucking amazing.
And stop.
How do these guys keep doing this? They keep reinventing the goal. The goal is always to be worshipped and grown, I think.
It is impressive. I wouldn't be able to recreate the goal in as many ways as these guys have. It is impressive.
It's a living being to these guys.
We haven't had a contribution in 15 minutes. It's time to pick it up. If we're going to hit number one, if we're going to hit a goal on this stream.
Does this sound at all familiar to you?
Yes,
he's talking about the streak. He's talking about a rally. Could you go back a little bit? I want people to hear the very subtle nuances. But I think, if I haven't been clear, there might be some similarities between this man, Darkside Phil, and Aaron Imholt. Let's see if you can hear them.
Celebration. Because right now we're at 84, right? And by the way, momentum has stopped. We haven't had a contribution in 15 minutes. It's time to pick it up. If we're going to hit number one, if we're going to hit a goal on this stream, which we've always hit the goal playing Suikoden. If we're going to hit a goal, we got to keep that momentum going. We've already got our first tips. We've actually got a big super chat. We got one sub. Let's get our first membership of the day. Let's get some more subs over on Kick. Let's keep that momentum rolling. Let's get someone to beat the top tip of $5. Let's get someone to beat the top super
what?
chat.
The top tip.
He has a leaderboard.
He does. He does.
So I guess another way of saying what Darkside Phil is saying is, if we get those donations up, you could find yourself on the leaderboard, and then we've got a 7-week streak cooking.
God, these two can never get together.
It is crazy, the similarities. And we played clips. Go back through the archives. It's somewhere. I forget when we talked about it. It was a few months ago. Aaron was bashing this man. Aaron was like, what a loser he is, how greedy he is with his fan base. It's disrespectful. And now listen to them. They sound exactly the same. In fact, I think Darkside Phil has more integrity than what we're listening to Aaron doing.
This goes more than just this. They both have the same type of terrible collared shirts and Just for Men hair dye, way overused. I mean, these guys are like brothers from the same
DSP is at least like, it's self-inflicted. He's like, hey, I'll shave. I'll do this. Aaron's like, watch Johnny do all this stuff.
10. Let's keep it rolling, right? We want to make it possible. We want to hit the goal. So we're currently at $32 to support. Guys, I'll be honest.
900 goal, remember.
We're not doing very good pacing here to hit $900. We're not.
It's the exact same. We got to get under 300 by 7 o'clock.
That is fucking
not on the right pacing to get the face shaved and to get the Minecraft DSP tries it on this stream. One time only offer that we will do it on this stream, and I will shave. I've never offered to shave before. I will never offer to shave again. One time only offering to shave if we get $900 on this stream. So we got to make it happen. Who's gonna
OTO. One time only.
Mike, real quick question here. $900 obviously way too low.
Yeah.
What would it cost for Blind Mike Geary to shave his beard?
There's not an amount because I'm not a circus bear.
That's the right answer.
I'm gonna start dropping the hundos?
Swoosh.
So dropping the hundos. That's another. Come on, guys, start dropping the hundos. We got a long way to go. But I really appreciate you guys with those chunk yardage plays, sprinkling in the 5s and 10s. But if you guys start dropping the hundos, you're gonna see that goal just melt away. If we, I don't know if you, I know you've done some stuff with AI and everything. I don't know if you have the proper technology. But if I had just asked you to change the voice so it sounds like Aaron is talking in those DSP clips, people would have been mad. People would have been like, yeah, Mike, we've heard these before. You know, find some new Aaron clips. Like, that's so Aaron what he's doing that it's almost hack. That's crazy. It would be like if Carl was doing a stream shit-faced from his house and going, oh, you know, fucking, I saw Stuttering John talking about to me that prick. Like, he's just ranting like John and didn't realize the irony of what's happening.
Next one here is called Aaron Gets Involved.
Oh, good. Well, you saw Aaron standing already, so in a way he was involved, I guess. But this is where he said, you know what? I'm going to take my pride back. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be making fun of this. Well, try and make fun of what Aaron does in this clip, you dirty, rotten scoundrels.
Swoosh. 10 seconds. Now down to 5, 4, 3, 2. JB Gunner TV with $5 says, why the fuck is Aaron standing? No more money from me.
Thank you, JB Gunner. You're the best.
All right, guys. 248.20. Johnny's going to keep standing. Helgi with $5 says, I have to do jumping jacks. All right, I'm not going to be able to refresh.
Hold on. 248.20. There it is again. But it's more. Oh, you know what? I think he's talking about the timestamps.
Oh, that would make a little more sense.
All right. Aaron, we're sorry for misjudging you. Now that I've realized what the numbers are you're saying, it's much more respectable what you're doing.
Yes.
Streamlabs or PayPal or Venmo while I'm doing these jumping jacks. $75 away from today's goal, and 248.40 is the new number. So now I have to do jumping jacks for 2 minutes.
This is the most gay thing we've ever done, but it's awesome.
For sure. This is 100% the gayest shit we've ever done.
Swoosh. Yep. That's
that
the
hot
problem.
dog.
Opie's homo detector was going off. That's the problem we all had with it. It was too gay for us. You know? Like when if you walk down the street and you see a guy poking a homeless man with a stick and saying, "Hey, you want the money? You're gonna dance for me." You would go, "Oh, look at these two gays. These gentlemen must be sucking each other off." You wouldn't go, "This is despicable what's happening. These men have no shame." You would go, "Oh, that's really gay. That's the world that Aaron lives in." No, it's embarrassing. It's humiliating. There are no gays that have reduced themselves to what you gentlemen are doing here.
Job well done by Aaron.
Oh, is this a mission accomplished here?
It looks like they got something done.
Oh, this is exciting.
All right. 53:30. 2 minutes left. I think I'm going to call it. I want to
sit down.
I want to get back to a show. Yeah.
All right.
There was a funny bit, and you got us down to $50, which is
Hilarious.
fucking awesome. And I thank you.
Hold on. They didn't hit the goal.
No. Got us down $50.
I mean, they got us overtime, thank God. But how do you do that? If you're going to do something like that, it should be like, hey, we're doubling the goal today, but Johnny's going to stand for the whole show. You know? It shouldn't be less than you normally make.
Yeah, we're just gonna give up here. That was a great bit though, but we're jumping out of it as fast as possible.
Well, so here's what's happening. I'll again give my toe linguistics to try and interpret for you, some of you people. I think people in the chat are starting to say, because he was reading a few of these more and more. I think people in the chat were starting to say, Aaron, what are you doing, man? This is embarrassing. And I think enough people said it that it got through to Aaron, and he's like, oh, God, people are going to be making fun of me for this. I'll be the hero and cut it off short and say, Johnny, please, no more. That's enough.
Thank you for coming up with this idea. But A, I want you to sit down because this is
Making you nervous?
I trust you.
You shouldn't.
But no, it's really more just the it's really more just you're exploiting yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about you I'm totally not worried about me exploiting you. Thank God no one else is going to think that. I'm worried, Johnny, about you exploiting yourself. So you see, I'm actually the good guy after doing this for 30 minutes and then it bringing in no more money, that I'm like, you know what, Johnny? I've now realized the benefit of this is making $5 at a time. So maybe it's worth it for me to look like the good guy for 30 seconds and be like, that's enough, kid. Take a break. Clean yourself up.
Yeah, Johnny, in retrospection, I've been bad doing this. That's a hard one.
I feel like I've been made a party to your exploitation of yourself.
Oh, so you just don't want to be part of it anymore. Okay.
You're making
I'll
me
exploit myself more on my show if you guys want to pay me to stand some more.
Swoosh.
Oh, that's sad.
That's what Johnny should have been doing the whole time. I do think it's sad, but like he should have just been doing it on his show for his own benefit. He got literally nothing out of this.
It's sad when you go into podcasting because you want to talk sports or you want to, hey, maybe I'm funny, and then you end up just, I'll stand on my podcast if you pay me.
It's crazy. It's like, what? You know what? Tim Dillon, I listened to the Tim Dillon show this week. For all of you that think I'm some liberal queer, I listened to Tim Dillon, and he said, this is a podcasting economy that we live in. Like people, and it's so interesting because Tim Dillon might not even know about this corner of the internet, where it really is true that people think, well, you know what? I'll do a podcast and ask people for money, and that's how I'll make money in podcasting. They don't think like, oh, if I do a really good show and figure out the algorithm so that I'm able to make money on YouTube and Spotify, and if I'm able to get advertisers or set up a Patreon, whatever, they don't think that way. They think if I can just turn on a camera and say, will you give me this much money, please? Then that's a form of income. Like it's crazy how many people have this disease.
It's like in music, if you like wanted to make it big and have an album be successful, and you just bought an instrument, you're like, all right, work is done.
Yeah, but then you have to. Then you show up at places and you're like, I have a guitar. Will you pay me?
Yes. Yeah.
And they're like, well,
right,
why don't you play a song? And I'm not going to play the song. You haven't given me any money yet.
Right. I bought this. You guys.
You give me some money, I'll play a song, and then I'll keep playing if we hit our goals. But not until then.
Rally time for DSP.
Oh, is there more? I forgot there was more DSP.
One more DSP.
All right. Hey, guys. So we're $50 away from the goal. Let's see what we should do.
Never heard that before.
Swoosh.
All right. So whatever you guys want to talk about, tag me in the chat. We got about 15, 20 minutes left before we convert over and we start playing Suikoden. All right? Like I said, we have always hit the goal playing Suikoden. Every single time we've played this game, we've hit the goal. It's great when we hit the goal before we play it because then I can just focus on the game and don't have to worry about it.
Oh, interesting. Oh, man, it'd be so great if we hit our goal early because then I could get to some of these great stories I have prepared for you.
So let's hit the goal right now. Who's going to be our new top tipper and beat the $5 tip? Who's going to be the new top super chatter and beat the $10 super chat? Can we get more than just one gifted sub?
Where's Gray Duckling? He's trailing behind Flinty Gecko this week.
I'd love to know DSP's MSO. I know there's got to be 100 MSOs over on DSP's channel. Just
over on Kick. We great.
Swoosh.
All right.
It's crazy how similar that is, you know? And it was last time we talked about it, we were pointing out Aaron covering this guy and how hypocritical that was. But I actually thought it was crazier, and I'm curious if you guys agree, because I was thinking of that. The reason I wanted these interspliced is because those exact words could easily be from Aaron's show. You know what I mean? It's almost like Aaron had a different guy by playing these together. It's like Aaron had a different guy do the begging for a day. You know, he tagged in.
You know, well, it's like Danny McBride. You know when other people are reading his dialogue, it sounds like Danny McBride is being read through someone else's dialogue. This sounds like Aaron's dialogue is being read by him.
Right.
And this is a last push here by Aaron.
All right, this one, it's amazing. We did have a handicapped man stand up out of his wheelchair. So you'd think maybe we hit the goal, but it turns out, unfortunately, not. Johnny can only get us most of the way there. So we still have to debase ourselves. Come on, gang. It's rally time.
Imagine Johnny's getting transported around on a skateboard for the rest of his life because of this show.
Hey, you heard DSP. It's time to rally. Let's do it.
Swoosh. All right, guys, put 5 minutes on the clock. Let's knock out these last $45 and call it a win for the toe. We had a very brief, 20-minute period there where it was touch and go. But after the stand and deliver rally, I mean, we've been at $50 for about the last hour and a half here,
really,
not even mentioning
what Johnny
goals.
Did. That's how it'll be referred to in future years.
Stand
and deliver. A hero. He stood up so Aaron, for one more day, could say they have some ridiculous consecutive goal streak.
The jumping jacks heard around the world.
Let's knock out the last 45 and make this 30 minutes of overtime completely unadulterated from any kind of asking for money.
Yeah.
And honestly, at $45, we can do this $5 at a time, nice and easy.
Oh yeah.
Streamlabs.
Now there are other numbers you couldn't do $5 at a time, particularly those not divisible by 5. But $45, luckily, is a number, and that's 9 people. Bing bang boom, you're done.
Mike, if you give pie, you never really stop giving. It just goes on forever.
That's a good point.
Labs, PayPal, Venmo, Super Chats, Rumble Rants. 4.5 minutes until we start overtime. Let's just do this real quick. Hammer out $45.
Yeah, don't make a big thing.
This last little pesky little chunk done for today. That would be good.
Let's really bring everything to a halt. Holy shit.
That would be good.
Hey, we're going to do literally nothing. All right. You thought we were doing nothing when we had Johnny standing, and I would go, look at him. It's a guy standing. Holy shit. A guy who doesn't stand well is standing. Can you believe it? And I'm just going to talk about that for half an hour. But now Aaron's literally not speaking. That's how he punishes the audience in this phase of the show. Well, hey, you're not going to give me money. What if I just didn't talk for 5 minutes? How would you like that, huh?
He's tuckered out from them jumping jacks, man. He worked hard early in the show.
Johnny worked his ass off to make a show happen today. Comes back on a Wednesday, gives us the standing bit.
How about maybe the type of podcasting work Johnny and you should be doing is show prep. Instead of literally a physical tax on a handicapped guy, maybe just find some stories to talk about and go on a few fun riffs. How's that sound?
Or talk about your crazy-ass life. That's always the most interesting thing about Aaron. Just talk about your life. You're a weirdo. I love it.
That's true.
Saves my voice from talking thanks to his Snow White rants. Yeah. Now we just need to knock out that $45. Let's do it now in the next 4 minutes. This is a very lackluster rally. Very lackluster effort I'm putting into the rally.
You're telling me. That's where Aaron thinks he's saving face. He's like, it's a lackluster rally. But I also am not trying. Where did we hear this earlier? Where he's like, yeah, but I'm not trying for it. So therefore, it's not embarrassing that I'm doing this.
It's when you give a song to someone, you're like, oh, it's not mixed yet. No. Listen to it, but don't judge it because I'm going to do billions of things to it.
Take my demo tape. I didn't even really give a shit about it, but I want you to take the time to listen to it and give me constructive feedback. But again, it's not like I really give a fuck.
But understand, I know that it's terrible. So you don't need to
You say so myself. Johnny, this rally needs something.
What does it need?
I don't know. What do you think it needs?
Uh-oh. That sounds like you've got an idea.
I was hoping so. I was hoping it.
I don't know.
It's the Jew music, everybody.
Chosen people are back.
Yes,
$45
now we've got
away
some
from
dignity.
Yes.
We got our pride back.
today's.
People were laughing at me before. Keep playing. I want the spirit of the Jewish people behind
Goal.
me.
Let's do it, boys and girls. Let's make this thing happen and call it another win for the toe and keep our relatively effortless.
The standing was embarrassing.
Perfect week going. $5 from Marble Arms. That song is like a clarion call for assholes. Generous assholes.
I bet DSP isn't being anti-Semitic when he hits his goals.
Hey. All right, 3 minutes to go. $40 even. And we knock this thing out.
Oh, well, good. At least
we
we got
go into
$5 for the trouble so far.
So much effort for so little.
Overtime with everything good for today. And, yeah, tomorrow's either going to be no goal or a very small goal because you guys have done a great job. If we knock out today and we knock out tonight.
That's something he can do? Goal can't be flexible like that. Goal is goal.
Yeah, right. What the hell? What are we in this for then? You're just going to cancel the goal? But that's his way of inspiring us. And then tomorrow we still have to hear how there is no goal, but it'd be great if we donated.
That is a first for me. No goal tomorrow. That means you have to give today.
There's a guy here, and I don't know how true this story is, but I've heard it my whole life. So I grew up in Western Mass, which is actually like a 2-hour drive if you're coming into the city. And when I used to come to Red Sox games, there's a guy who would stand as you get off the Mass Pike. There's a guy who appeared to be homeless that would walk up and down because that's where it was like a traffic jam because that's where all the cars would get off. There's a guy who would walk up and down as the cars sat there and ask for money. And the legend went, supposedly that guy drove like a Corvette. Like he made so much money doing that every day that it was actually his full-time job. And that is how I'm starting to look at Aaron, where if you accumulate it every day, like these one-offs, you can look at it as embarrassing. But then when you're like, every day, he completely humiliates himself like this, but he's making money, like he's making a living. That's actually impressive. He has a house, and he lives like a homeless man. Like that's actually impressive that he's fooled all these people, you know?
Mike, you're not going to believe this. Darkside Phil's anti-Semitic jokes that got him banned on a defunct video platform. So they are separated at birth, man.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry for giving DSP not enough credit.
Right. We're going to give you guys a break tomorrow. Because you guys have been incredible so far this week. You haven't missed a single one, but we got to hit this one. $40 away.
Wow. Something just hit me there. I just had a moment. And this shakes me to my core a little bit. It didn't even dawn on me that he said the words, "We're going to give you guys a break tomorrow." Like, when we started covering Aaron, that would have been 40 minutes of us being like, give them a break from what? You're not their boss. You don't get to give hey, guys, I know this is work. Tomorrow you have a day off. And it dawned on me that used to be so shocking to me. And now I'm just numb to it. That he's like,
now
hey,
you're
audience.
happy for the day off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, thank you, Massa. The boss is very gracious to us. He treats us real good, Mr. Imholt.
But only if you hit the goal today. Otherwise,
I'm numb to it. It didn't even dawn on me that was a mockable statement he was making.
I didn't even think it was a thing he could do.
Right. You don't have the power to give us a day off. God damn it, I'm going to donate to you whether I want to or not.
Here's the thing. That he would take the day off. Goal still would be there for the night crew. Night crew still got the goal. So
well, of course. But
we're only going to skip one segment at a time, not two.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about the night crew. They always tidy up at the end of the day.
Let's do it. Let's go. Nice and easy. $40 is an easy one for the old toe, so let's make it look that way.
Don't even break a sweat.
2.5 minutes to go. Slow going. The festive music, the whole deal. You guys like making me look like a stupid.
Why hasn't Hava Nagila inspired you to give money?
I pressed a button. How am I not rich now? Come on, guys.
Asshole.
We can do this, guys. Come on.
You guys love making me look like a fucking jerk off.
Aaron, we aren't doing this to you.
nothing.
I wish I had that kind of power.
You're looking in a mirror there, buddy.
It's to me. You guys are doing this to me. Just talk about a news story. Do anything. Make fun of Johnny. Say words. We're not doing this to you.
Well, Aaron, it's so easy. Shut up. $1 from Nomo says grifter on the roof. Oi.
It's not bad.
40 away from getting this thing taken care of.
He wanted to will it into existence.
Yes.
Let's go.
It's like that Michael Jordan quote about envisioning yourself making baskets. He lives in a world where he's only $35 away from the goal.
Or he pre-read his own donation too early. He's like, oops.
Wait, we're going to spend the next half hour doing this? Minute 40 left to go.
If I were a rich man.
$10 from Fuck You Dude. He says, good morning. You may start the show now that I've arrived. Toe Rogan with $10 as well.
Thank you.
All right, we're doing it.
That's going to put us 25
The music is working.
Away from today's goal. Hey,
I want to see the dance.
Hey. All right, where does that put us? Let's go back. Let's start the music over again because we got 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go.
Just make a longer. You use it for 5 minutes every time. Just make a longer version.
It should be the whole show. I'd listen to the Toe a little more often if every time I turned on that song would be playing.
Almost there. So close. Perfect week.
Really
hammering it out. No problems. 1 minute remaining. 1 minute on the old steel toe clock. Let's do it. I'll ask for the next half hour. That doesn't, you know me. But I like just getting it taken care of right up front. We do the 4 hours, then at the end we go, what do you say? 30 seconds, 25 bucks to go.
Whoa. That also breezed by me. You had a crippled man up on his haunches.
It was just the first 4 hours. Nothing went on.
And nothing crazy happened. And here's the rare occurrence that we have to ask for money. You threw a man out of his wheelchair for $80.
Oh, five of you with 5 of you with 5. That's the easiest way to do it. There's Camel Toe says peace.
Split the pain.
Scotland in the YouTube chat is gayer than AIDS. Well, we got a lot of people obsessed with the toe that have definitely sexuality problems. That's for sure.
Hey,
$20.
I hope he's not calling me gay. Casey, I'm not gay, am I?
I don't know. There's some paneling.
Come on.
It's been often rumored.
I don't want to be gay. Come on, Aaron. Stop saying stuff like that. It's so mean.
Away from today's goal. Finish it off. Knock it out. $20. Easy does it. B-Shop says this music reminds Yaron of his job at Urban Moving Systems. All right, here we go. 10-second countdown. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Come on.
5, 4.
A hero.
3,
Please.
2,
Buzzer
1.
beater.
There you go. All right, so $20 left during overtime.
Damn
to
it.
clean up. Oh, and there's Adam Simon gifting a membership.
Oh,
that counts as 20, right?
Are we? Oh, we have a little last minute hope here.
Pal, $20 left to clean up here on the old toe. Pretty easy for you cats. You can do it, and we'll call it all good for today. And then, if we knock out tonight's goal, I think the steel toe fans are owed a nice discount on tomorrow's show because you guys have done a great job. Swoosh.
We still get the discount even though we didn't hit the goal.
Thanks so much, brother. That's really, especially in this economy. I got hammered in the market this week, Aaron, and I appreciate you giving me the old, friends discount, friends and family.
Oh my God, DSP is a piece of work. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that thing where he got kicked off. I'll send you a clip. That might be fun too.
Oh, the thing is a Jewish thing you mentioned? Yeah.
Yes. Maybe play the song.
But I don't even care about DSP as much as I care about Aaron. Because DSP I only know as a guy that does that. Whereas Aaron, what fascinates me about him is that he used to make fun of this.
Yeah, but don't you see, by learning DSP, you actually learn Aaron. This is like the pulp.
I'll be able to save him.
Yeah, or
Aaron, I figured it out.
You can always tell what's coming next by looking at what that guy did.
Yes,
a $900 goal coming soon to the Steel Toe Show.
I could be like Oppenheimer. I could hold a lot of. If I reveal these secrets, it could change everything.
Yes, we got a few super chats here, Mike. I skipped over one here. This was over Opie. Flatbush Tommy, $2 says, ironic that Opie helped coin the phrase douche chills. Did he help coin the phrase?
In a way, well, I've always attributed douche chills to Opie and Anthony. That's always where I've heard it.
That is ironic.
So I don't, but yeah, so I don't know if they're technically the first to popularize it, but yeah, it is funny that's the main thing with Opie, is that was such a part of that show, was bashing bad radio and calling people out for their bullshit, calling people who were revered as funny that weren't really doing anything funny, and like exposing that. That was such a massive part of the Opie and Anthony show. And he was hiding in plain sight all along. Like when he was making fun of Scorch, we didn't realize Scorch was in the studio. That's what's so interesting about Opie's journey.
All right, Labor and Mystic for $2. Johnny gets flogged if his bits don't hit the goal.
Yeah, well, that's the crazy thing, is like we didn't get there after all that. we made this man stand up, and we didn't get to the goal.
Rick from New York, always a great super chatter. $4.99. Electra, I couldn't agree more when you called Bill Burr's wife a disrespectful shine. Hey, now she did not.
Jesus Christ.
Electra,
why would you say something like that?
She doesn't know what that means. Everything Farley, $1.99. Aaron is pathetic. Why do people give him money? That's very, very good question.
It's an interesting study, and I've heard my guy Tukey talk about this before, where like he wants to interview an earnest steel-toed donator. Not someone that's like, oh, I hope he reads the insult I sent or whatever.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like an earnest, oh, we got to hit the goal. Like Tukey wants to talk to one of those guys, and I'd love to hear it, quite frankly, because I'm also intrigued by it.
It's going to be hard to get one of them to go public. That is a private love.
You keep that hidden, yeah.
Yeah, that's like listening to Sade and be like, God damn, this bumps. I'm not going to tell my friends, but this bumps.
Because it's like I used to say that about like Schaub and D'Elia, where I was like, I'd like to interview one of their fans. But I think I understand it. I think their personality, like an earnest Schaub or D'Elia fan, is kind of like them or sees themselves like those guys. Like they're relating to the personality. Maybe that's the case with Steel Toe, but I don't get the mentality of like, oh man, we better hurry. We got to help this guy hit his goal.
Normal Blind Mike interviewing thick boy hat Blind Mike would be amazing. That's what we can do.
Yeah.
All right, Cameo Blind Mike, $1.99. I will give $100,000 if Ted stands for you on his own.
See, that's worth it.
Yes.
That I try and get Ted to do. Not like, hey, Ted, would you stand in order for me to make the same I do every month? Like I just keep my salary going. Would you stand up for that?
The one pun, $2. And I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has musical things. I was supposed to sing it. But
fun. So and you did.
They're doing music puns now for the standing. I'm sorry I came really out of the boat on fire, says for $1.99. Throw rocks at Mike. There's your pain segment.
There you go. Yeah, throwing something at me would be that. And then if Casey was like, hey, you can also throw things at me. And then they're just playing catch with each other. And I'm like, well, it's a little different.
We got associate producer Ralph checking in with a $2.79 Canadian. Steel Toe feels able-bodied jumping jacks equals cripple standing.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Yeah. Well, I worked out, so now I know what you go through, Johnny.
Mike, you couldn't see it, but those tits were bouncing.
They did make, to their credit, they did make reference to that. So.
I thought you were going to say, to his credit, I could hear them. To Chad Zoo Mimic, $1.99. Aaron is not good.
All right.
I think that's a Chad saying. Chris Primer, $5. The last one here. Hava Nagila means let us rejoice. Has Aaron hit the goal or not? He did not.
No, that's true. He does play Hava Nagila before the rejoicing begins.
That can curse you.
A little premature. But hey, we got within 20. We got within spitting distance, and that's what's important.
Thank you all the super chats and everyone who gifted a membership. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. If you want bonus content and early access, like I said, Carl talking about Weird Al with us is up for members already. The rest of you will get it Wednesday night. And the audio will be up whenever Craig feels like it, I guess.
I will get it to him as soon as possible. But also, Craigers, you can grab it from YouTube right now. You can just grab it right now.
Oh, the Blind Mike Project usually gets up on time. Why are you laughing? We had, and I mean a really solid, like an admirable 3-week run of the audio being up when I woke up and when the rest of America woke up. But then this week, goddamn, the streak hit a snag.
Oh, no.
But I think we're going to get back right this week.
All right, Mike. And you can also find me over at HackRideStudios.com. We'll be doing Catch 22 after the show.
Oh, go there. Go follow HackRide and DJ Electra. And watch Electra's live stream that she does on her channel at DJ Electra Fry on YouTube. But support these two rascals because they help the show moving. When Craig abandons us, when Craig is in the chat, can't produce the show, but he's heckling me about Bill Burr in the chat. I think the only reason you're getting the show is because of Casey and Electra and all that they do for the program. So make sure you go over there right now, support the show. And watch Unboxing Eric tonight as well, right?
Yep, correct. 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, up to call 145. Thank you so much, Blind Mike. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
All right, blindmike.net is where all my links are. See you later.